Welcome to the Friendlyjordies Podcast.
Boom. Early. What do you think about that?
Minus
a minor host.
I don't think he was that important.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't that important, right? Like, I know his name and face is in the title, but you know, it's all.
Hey, what title? What face? There's
Yeah,
no
actually,
face.
that's right. Welcome to the Japanese History Channel.
Actually, if you look at the top, I don't know if the audience can see it, but Barolaro is more of a host than the genie character.
Yeah, that's right. And then we've also got, I don't know if that's in shot either.
That is definitely not in shot.
Well, Lithgow.
Behind you.
Yeah, just right. No, it is, look. Right there, Lithgow Chicken, sponsored by Lithgow Chicken Shop, catering. Have we got people on board?
Should we tell them why Jordan isn't here?
Yeah, so Jordan got kicked off. First it was me, but then, you know, obviously everyone came to their senses. And then Jordan, did he leave? Kicked off or left?
Well, he left. But, okay, you need to tell us if this is a valid reason for leaving the pod for good and abandoning your best friends.
Yeah.
We said that Tony Robbins may be a scam.
Yeah, we said, like, I think it was fair to pay, you know, maybe $8,000 for a seminar, but 10's just taking the piss. So, and then he was like, "That's it. I don't need this shit.
I've got better friends. I've got Neil, Isaac.
That's right. I've got famous friends with real credentials.
Yeah, dude, you are Isaac and I'm Neil. He's got our replacements already.
Me dick stinks. I don't know if you can even say that on Twitch, but so yeah, Jordan's left permanently, and now it's called the Friendlyjordies Podcast, but it's just me and Ali, and I think it'll be seamless. I don't think anyone will notice.
I think it'll be better. If you're considering on leaving, you're gonna miss out on so much.
Yeah,
dude. The funny thing is, the fucking chat is just riddled with, "We know he's on tour. We know he's on tour."
I love it. I love your accent too. Like, you know, he's on tour.
He is on tour. He's in Melbourne.
He's on tour. I don't think that charade would last very long. Even if we tried, even if we had like the most solid alibi that Jordan had left his own pod and left us here, and we're now continuing the Friendlyjordies pod without Jordan, it'd have to be like master manipulator. Like, people barely.
That would be a hard thing to sell.
Yeah, like me getting fired. It's bound to happen.
Really plausible.
It's bound to happen.
Particularly because half of the audience were recommending
That's right. When half the audience was like, "Yay!"
No, actually, not half. Maybe 1/10.
That's
still sizable.
Still some real history buffs that don't like me butting in and being like, "I reckon Lonerism was not Tame's best album. It's still a sick album." They weren't into, and understandably. But Jordan has not left. He's just on tour.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
If you want to leave, by all means do it. You'll see him next week. But stick around. You might be entertained.
We're like this is the bed frame of the operation. You know, me and Ali are like we've got two legs each of the bed frame. Jordan's the frilly pillows. So, you know.
Yeah. Who needs pillows?
You know, like, pillows are great, but, you know, you need some foundations here. You got two working class men here. We're not famous. Yeah. We don't know we don't know how these, you know, self-help, like, operations go. We don't know about Patreon. We don't know about...
Hey, I do. You might not.
Okay.
But anyway, look.
But it's just stick around. Look,
I know the pre-show is supposed to be Jordan answering questions. So maybe we cut that in half and you ask us a few questions if you want to.
Yeah, ask us about this. Like, again, the streets, man. The streets. We're from the streets. So you want to know about the like boots on the ground stuff, let us know.
All right, so the first one is...
My thing's not working for some reason, so I'm going to cut my Twitch, but I'll let you cover it.
Tiggle Dibidis, I think that's the name.
Shout out.
His question is, who does a better accent? Ali doing an Aussie accent or Miss Love doing a Paki accent?
One of those is acceptable. I'm not allowed to do that, apparently, right?
Nah, look, Jordan isn't here, so this Jordan is going going to be cancel worthy, and I would not feel any sorrow whatsoever because there's going to be so much spicy stuff coming.
Oh God! Imagine if the pod got cancelled The Friendlyjordies got cancelled without Friendlyjordies knowing about it or being on it.
That's okay, because then the pod wouldn't get cancelled, we would get cancelled, and I am okay with that.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do it.
All right.
Well, my Australian accent is that. You got like a shitty town in country New South Wales. I'll tell you a true story, mate. I went to Queensland, and I went up to the butler and I said, mate.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Do you have any Tui's new? His response was, fuck off, mate. This is Queensland. 4X gold or get the fuck out of here. All right, so that's mine.
That was pretty good, but you got to say, you got to say gotta.
Gotta.
Yeah, wait, gotta.
Instead of?
You were like, did more like gotta, gotta, like American.
Gotta.
Like you got to say like, I gotta go.
All right, okay.
Practice it.
I gotta.
Gotta. There you go.
Gotta go. Like
gotta go.
Ricotta.
Yeah, like ricotta. Gotta, ricotta.
All right, this is such valuable information. I think I will succeed in this country.
No, that was actually good.
Yeah, well, look, I've had 10 years of practice.
Yeah. You've been here for 10 years.
I've been here for
That's
a
decade. Long time. Why do I keep? God, I'm such a dick. I'm just like, yeah, you don't know a thing. It's like you've been here like longer than me, basically.
Yeah, in like a few years, I would.
That's a long time.
Yeah, but like I would have spent more time in Australia than I would have spent in Pakistan in like a few years.
That's amazing. Yeah, well, there you go. Legit.
All right,
mine.
Do your packing.
But like but the thing is, my packing is accent. So speaking English. Yeah. Hello, hello, how's it going? I would like to know how to get to Karachi, please. I need to go to pray. I've only prayed 60 times today, so I am dangerously under my quota level of praying today. And I also am looking for the mystical fat bald man with the boiled egg. My religion speaks very highly of him, and legend says if you eat the egg, you acquire eternal life.
All right, okay. Here's the thing. You gave me a few tips.
I want some pointers.
I'll give you a few tips on that. Let's get a poll going and let's see who won.
But we don't need Jordan.
Yeah, we don't need Jordan. But here's my tips.
Yeah.
This is like, and it's not your fault. Mm-hmm. Most of the Indian accents are inspired by Apu, which is fine. He's a character.
Yeah, that's.
But Apu's accent is based on South Indian accent.
Really?
So it changes as you go to North India. In Paki land, you would find the North Indian accent. So instead of going like, okay, instead of saying, thank you, come again, it's more like, thank you, come again. It's slightly...
inflections.
It's less rhythmic.
Thank you, come again.
Thank you, come again. What are you doing? That is South Indian.
Yeah.
As North Indian is like, what are you doing?
Damn, that does sound more like Pakistan. It does. You're right.
Oh, you haven't been. How would you know?
It just seems like a more... Well, it's not India, right? They're different countries.
Well, let's be real. It's basically the same.
Look, I haven't been, but I'm just assuming from the very little I've seen in regards to like, people I've met, even like anyone, people I've met from Pakistan, like it seems more like, I guess like a low, like less animated, a bit more stoic, a bit more like mountain-esque, you know what I mean? A bit more like, not as dynamic, not like extreme highs, extreme lows, like up and down. It's kind of just more like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we don't have, I would include North Indians as this. We don't have the head wobble thing, which South Indians have.
Yeah.
It was equally confusing for me when I first experienced it with a Sri Lankan.
Oh, really?
I was telling him something and I was explaining him something and he kept going. And I had to stop. I was like, wait, are you
having a fit?
No, not a fit. I was like, it's really distracting when like I'm trying to explain you something and you keep saying, no, that's not correct. That is not correct. That is not correct. It's like, let me finish. And he's like, no, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah. I've actually read about it and apparently it's a weird thing of like, it's not nodding. It's similar though. It's kind of like a lazy nod, kind of like, hey, I kind of know what you're saying, I guess. Like I've read about it. It's like, it's almost like I'm acknowledging.
I'm acknowledging you and...
it's kind of just being like, it's almost like responding without speaking. It's like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, no, I'm hearing you, or something like that, right?
Here's another cultural quirk which I've noticed in North Indians in particular, which is, okay, if they're trying to explain to you something, they'll do a thing which really distracts. Like, let's say you're talking to them and you're explaining them something and they're thinking about something, they'll be like, but you know what the problem is? they'll make a sound.
Really?
In the middle.
That can't be relegated to a country.
Well, at least a region. But they go,
right.
Which sounds like, when they do it in the flow, it sounds like it's really dismissive of what you're saying.
Right.
Stop annoying me. But it's more like they're actually agreeing with you. They're like, that's a good point. And I'm going to elaborate more on that point. But I have to go before that for some reason.
That's so interesting.
Cultural quirks.
We don't have any, like, yeah. Like, I feel like, yeah, ours is just kind of like, you know, it just revolves around fairy bread and that's it. Like, do you want some fairy bread?
I'm trying to think of like particularly Aussie quirks.
Mate, just saying mate on everything. And finishing a sentence with but. Do you want to go but? Do you want to go but?
Yeah, do you
want to go but? Doesn't grammatically make sense. Like, but on a question mark.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah, nah.
Which is really, because you're saying two different things over there.
It's true.
Is it yeah or is it nah?
Yeah, nah is interesting because it's kind of like, it's a polite way to say no. Instead of saying no or nah, you're like, yeah, nah. It's kind of like saying, look, I understand where you're coming from, but no.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I say it too sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, is this particular? I think Canadians say it too, but in a different way.
That's definitely Canadian and definitely Aussie.
But Aussies say it's true, whereas Canadians use it more frequently in different contexts. Yeah,
they're like, yeah, exactly. They'll kind of be like, exactly right. Like Canadians will be like, it's Greek D-E, something, E, whereas I suppose Aussies do that as well.
It's their mate.
It's their mate. Yeah, exactly. It's their mate. Yeah. No, you're right.
All right, so let's see if we got any questions.
Yeah, do we have any...
Marilini is saying,
is there a poll?
Ali say beginning. Beginning?
There you go, people.
I don't understand which up.
Just for you. Nothing wrong with the beginning.
How's playing shows again, Miss Love? That's a question for you.
Ooh, well, good. I mean, I'm not really playing shows. I played a show. And it was great fun with our friends Dress Tech. Check them out. THEQUE. Not an easy spelling. But yeah, we played with them. It was actually great. It was fun. It's fun.
You're pretty much playing shows every weekend now, right?
No. But I do have... It's funny, though. I do have one in 2 weeks. At the Duke. I do have another one coming up.
That's cool.
You know what sucks, though, dude?
What?
We had a show booked with these guys called Verge Collection in Melbourne. We're going to be playing in Melbourne, and we're about to announce it. We're like, we're going to Melbourne. And then because of COVID, because they're in Perth, or they went to Brizzy, I don't know, some weird shit, cancelled. They couldn't do the show.
In Brizzy?
No, in Melbourne.
Why can't you do it in Melbourne?
I don't know. It's because like they went to Brizzy or something, and they're like, you got to quarantine. So now... They're like, yeah, dude, we just canceled the Melbourne show. So I'm like, I just want to play somewhere else, but I got to wait a bit longer. But just hold your horses one day.
You know what I can also do? This could be a good
intervention.
Pre-show activity.
Yeah.
Mish, do you know what I did last week?
Tell me.
I got my... Oh, wait. Sorry,
yeah. Let's bring that on.
I got my vaccine shot. I am protected from COVID-19.
And he's not passing it on to me.
You know what's funny? Okay, this is a true story. So when I told Miss Love that I'm going to get vaccinated, Miss Love, I swear to God, I'm not making this up. Miss Love was more concerned about getting the vaccine than COVID. He was like, give me COVID, don't give me vaccine.
No, he was getting the vaccine and I was just like, I can't catch that, can I?
Ridiculous. So the question is, it seems like most of you are close to getting your vaccine too, apparently, but which one are they? This is the cool bit. I mean, it feels bad saying this, but I got the good one, baby.
Pfizer.
I got Pfizer, luckily. I mean, I don't know, like you don't want to say, but apparently the other one is really shit. It's giving people blood clots.
Look, my opinion is I'm no anti-vaxxer. I'm not, but I think a vaccine's rollout usually takes, a decade? Isn't that the timeline to form a vaccine? 10 years? Is that incorrect?
10 years, it can take up to 10 years. But you know what it is?
I'm just dubious of the speed at which there is such a, what do you call it? demand, obviously, understandably, for it, that it's not an impossibility that some factors would have been overlooked in the creation of the...
I looked more into it,
yeah,
and I found out how it's possible to do it so quickly.
I mean, you look fine, though. You seem fine.
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
You haven't got dementia yet?
People are asking me, and I think it's a fair question, how the fuck did you get it so quickly? It's because of my mom. So my mom has to deal with people in quarantine at times, and if you are exposed to incoming passengers, then your household is also recommended to get vaccine.
Yeah.
So that's why. So I'm not breaking. I did think of like scamming the audience and say, nah, bro, I got a hookup. I've sent it to me.
I've got a hookup. He brings me my weed and my vaccines.
No, that's how I got it. But it was. I'm very glad that I got Pfizer because I'm afraid of the other one now.
Well,
I've been watching too much news.
I didn't even know about the distinction, to be honest. But like,
hey, look, it's not nearly that bad. I don't want to sort of hype the wrong thing. Apparently, younger people are a very, very tiny minority of people under the age of 50 are prone to getting blood clots after getting the AstraZeneca vaccine, which is going to be the major vaccine that we receive.
Right.
And they initially thought it was like 1 in a million. And it turns out it's like 1 in 100,000.
That's going to keep shrinking.
Which is still, hopefully not, but it's still like, so let's just say because of this, 24 people in Australia will die, or not die, but like will get critically ill,
yes,
possibly die.
Careful what you say.
I don't know. Look, that's the odds, right?
Yeah, I mean,
but then more people would likely die from COVID, so it's still statistically a lot better.
That's true. Look, as I said, my opinion is that of I'm still dubious with the details, but I got this email from someone, a message from a family friend recently saying like, urgent, sign this petition. The government is thinking of instituting what you said, like travel cards, like validation identity cards for vaccines to travel. We have to sign this petition to stop. You know what I mean?
I know.
I'm probably going to sign it.
But here's the thing. I thought that was going to be the case. And it most likely will be the case, miss, still.
Really?
But they're getting a lot of backlash for that policy in the UK.
Right.
In the UK, because like UK and the US and Israel, and basically most of the first world countries that are not Australia are at a really advanced stage of their vaccine rollout.
Yeah.
Which, am I right? It's pretty... We could talk about it in the main one, like how shit we've been at sort of procuring.
But we're still...
the whole bungle up. But
we are still doing the regular podcast available on Patreon, right?
Yeah.
So
up late.
That's the one, up late. So we're still doing that this week.
But so in the UK, they tried to introduce the vaccine passport, and they've gotten a huge backlash.
In Australia?
In the UK.
Because I think it's stupid. But look, again, I am basically a bricklayer. So like my opinion is always like,
it's not stupid. The argument I think is maybe we should talk about it on the main pod.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll
talk about this
Twitch
on
is
the
probably
main pod,
like Mr. Twitch is probably, Mr. Jim Twitch is just watching us just sweating in his suit, being like, come on, let's move it on, boys. I assume that's how Twitch works. One man sits on a big golden chair with every single Twitch screen and just being like, that guy showed his foot. That guy did this thing,
Look, I'm kind of getting nervous about these comments because Tickle Biddies is saying more people would die from COVID, but not the people who are likely to get blood clots. Yeah. Oh wait, so it's not that is the case. Apparently, they're saying that it's more prevalent amongst young people that are less likely to die from COVID, anyways. Look, it is what it is, but statistically, and I can safely say this bit I know, it is, statistically speaking, you are more likely to die from COVID than you are to die from the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Of course.
By a big margin.
I'm not...
So
yes.
it's still better off. And also, the other thing is, maybe this is good that it's on the pre-show. We don't have any other options, man. Like, if we try and wait for the Pfizer vaccines or the Moderna vaccines, we're looking at vaccinating our people by 2022 or even 2023. If we switch over from AstraZeneca,
couldn't the virus just roll out? No, like hypothetical, no vaccinations, many more deaths, but hypothetically, it would just roll out, and people that are ill and old would be targeted more. But
wait, what are you saying? So like the virus rolls out, or the vaccine? So no vaccine, just let the virus rip through. Yeah. So a fair few people will die. Yeah. Mostly old people. But, But
yeah, look, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a bloody, what do you call it, like
scientist, doctor.
Yeah, no, not. I'm not Stalin. I don't know how to like transform a society, but I just think it's healthy to be dubious to an extent of everything in life. To be skeptical is to ask healthy questions and to explore all avenues. But what you're saying makes sense, like a lot more people would die without the vaccine. I understand that. So
for sure. It's literally like clockwork.
What about if like those more susceptible get the vaccine? I suppose that's irrelevant.
Well, that's how they want to do. Ideally, that was the entire requirement for the vaccines. At least get people that are more susceptible to dying. At least let them get the vaccine. That's why like our phase 1A was like border workers, and 1B is like nurses and old people and aged care people. So we are targeting that. Some countries are doing it the opposite way. Like I remember Indonesia. Indonesia started off with vaccinating their youngest people first.
Okay.
Their theory is there's 2 points of view towards it. First point of view is that it's being spread by young people. So
like passively or whatever.
Yeah, so mostly the spread is happening from young people to older people rather than older people to young people. So if you can block it amongst young people who are more mobile, then you'll protect the older people anyways. But the other point of view is, and let's be real, this is most likely the reason why they did it. They want to protect their economy. So it's like a really utilitarian approach where how do we make sure that our GDP reduces at a rate that is at the least at a rate that is not super high, and that's like you protect the people that are actually contributing to the economy the most. So you vaccinate them so they take less days off of work, they don't die.
But statistically, older people are more likely to suffer from it anyway.
Yes, but if old people die. Okay, this is like, I am not advocating this by any means.
This is just a hype.
But from an economic point of view, a really old person dying is good for the economy.
But I know that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
Yeah.
So like, Indonesia probably didn't have to do anything. Just sit back and.
Yeah. So that's the utilitarian point of view, that you protect the economy and you do that by protecting young people.
They were basically, that was their insurance policy. They're like, we're just going to insure our young people.
There's so many countries dependent on tourism.
Like, can you
imagine how Fiji?
I was in Fiji when a Fijian flight attendant, a Fijian man, came back positive, and the country went into lockdown. Yeah. The military was being ordered onto the streets, and we had to get the beep out.
But you know what? Out. It's the opposite now. Where now I was watching a documentary on either Bali or I think it was Bali actually, and dude, they're screwed.
Really?
Like the only thing that's keeping Bali afloat is a bunch of people, like really, really nice people who quickly diverted their farms to Bali to hire workers to pick spinach and shit.
Oh.
Which is keeping like at least 30 to 40% of the unemployed people float at a really low rate.
I never thought about it because Bali is a tourism economy, like Australians. Basically, and not just Australians, heaps, everyone.
A lot of people, right? A lot of these, which is a good testament of why your economy should not be one-dimensional.
Yes, it has to be, what's the word? Well, yeah, like multifaceted, or like rather, can adapt. It has many. It has It
needs to be able to adapt, which is why I've been Jordan as well, and like all of us have been a very strong advocate of diversifying the Australian economy because we have a similar situation.
Dude, it's common sense. That's what it is.
It's easier said than done, but it needs to happen.
With us, do you think it's a situation of not just relying on exports of like coal and iron ore and stuff? Is that the
essentially
key?
The commodities export business?
Because that is our main.
There's a few people that like there are problems over there because you would meet climate activists that would say, you know, mining is only 20% or whatever of our economy, and that's true. Most of it is services, but if you really look at it, most of the services industry is built on the mining industry as well. Like all the banks and all the stuff, they're really just rolling on the commodity export market. So we're a bit like Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, we are.
And luckily for us, we're not solely dependent on oil. We're also dependent on things like iron ore, mostly iron ore, which is still required. Like people still need to build stuff. So we're not nearly as bad as that. But again, it's the same thing. You're
renewables, is that what we need to invest in? What are we, batteries? Like what do we need to invest in terms of
what I'm not saying that you need to invest in one thing.
What do we need? Well, when you said the economy, I mean it's just producing, it's just industries, right? So what do we have to do?
One of the like the superpower thesis, which is a book that's I think has been trending for a while, is that we essentially become the clean energy exporters of the world.
That would be dope.
Which is dope, and we definitely need to be doing that. But if we were only doing that, then we would still be in the same problem.
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
So what you really I think we need to be heavily investing in high-end manufacturing. So like
Maseratis.
A lot of people, and you don't want to put someone like, I don't want to like, you know, we are doing great work and everything, but in terms of these vaccines, for instance, we are producing vaccines that are created by companies that are not Australian.
Yeah.
India is doing the same thing. Mexico is doing the same thing. We're Australia. We're better than them. So we should really... Sorry, I don't know. We're a developed country. India is very country. Poor. You're much richer. We're one of the richest. So I'm not trying to put anyone down, but ideally we should have had our own vaccine. There was a Queensland, like a University of Queensland vaccination program, which unfortunately failed. But that was also based on primitive technology, in my opinion.
Okay.
These Pfizer, these mRNA vaccines are insane. We can why don't we do this? We
can so go
come
on.
Back.
How are the crowd going? Is everyone just like, where's Jordan?
Tesla for Ali, yes. No, they're really talking about what we are also talking about.
Very cool too.
Some of them are saying, is his Melbourne show still sold out? They're missing him so much that they're willing to fly to Melbourne immediately to see him. Thanks. Appreciate that. Unfortunately, Prony isn't here.
Yeah,
where is Jordan? Fuck. Look, he's dead. COVID got him. But how about this? Look, this was supposed to be the pre-show. Just for continuity's sake, we'll take a quick break.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we'll come back for the main pod. And we'll discuss vaccines and why I think... Anyways, we'll talk about it when we come back, and we'll see you then.
We'll see you guys in a sec.
Welcome back to the Friendlyjordies Podcast.
Minus Friendlyjordies, who is on tour.
Because we said that Tony Robbins is a scam and he never came back.
Yeah, he just had a hissy fit. I said, he's great, but you shouldn't put your remortgage your house to meet him. And then he just...
What house? It's weird that guy still doesn't have a house.
That's
I'm pretty sure he can afford some house.
Yeah, Penrith, maybe.
He could get... I don't know.
No,
I really don't understand his finances.
Let's not disclose his finances.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. He could be really rich or he could be really poor. Yeah. Who knows?
I don't think he knows. That's the funny part. I think he's just sort of like, as long as he's got that fish tank right there, All is well.
Particularly when he tells his accountant to tax him more, and the accountant's like, I don't make the rules. And he's like, no, I think I need to give more tax. And he's like, just fuck off.
I've never met a man that enjoys paying tax as much as that man. I sure as hell don't. I'm always just like, the man's trying to take my money. Like, you know, I barely contribute to society, and then I get angry when they take anything back. Jordan, the opposite, you know?
Yeah. And let's be real. Look, I think I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I understand that paying taxes is good for society, and I'm willing to put in my shit.
No, I am
but I'm
too.
not enthusiastic when I'm doing it.
Yeah. I'm happy about it, but I'm going to... I'm grumpy and I'm going to complain, and I'll say they should be lower, but...
You really should be a Liberal voter.
No. I know that I like Medicare. I like roads.
You know, actually, that's true. Whenever I don't know if you receive that, but you know when you get that letter in mail which tells you where your money was spent on?
Like I never got that.
I think I've got it like once. And that is one of the most satisfying things. When you receive that, you're like, actually, I have no problem with giving tax. Because the only thing that I had like a bit of a problem with was like the defense spending was a bit higher than I wanted it to be.
Right.
So I was like not too happy about my tax dollars going there. But dude, everything else on the list, I was like, yeah, fine.
Really?
I'm happy with that.
One just says the Easter show. One just says it's like sumo bag and like the beetle bum bag. It's like, how are there so many Beetlejuice bags? Or whatever the fuck that one's called.
Yeah, that's explicitly written tax. Easter show bags.
Dagwood dogs.
All right, so look, before we went on our break, we were talking about something. We'll just finish.
Yeah.
We'll finish that. So we were talking about vaccines, and I got my first jab.
Yeah, and you seem to be doing fine. Yeah, Birdie Beetle. Thank you, the Birdie Beetle bag. You say that bag sucked. Do you know the Birdie Beetle bag?
No, but I'm planning on going to the Easter show soon.
You've never been?
I have, but I've never got the show bags.
That's the best part of it, the show bag.
I heard it's a joke. Like, they're not good.
They weren't a joke when I was a kid.
I never understand with you and Jordan, like, what is ironically good and what is actually good?
Please, don't lump me in with that. I'm not like that. That's Jordan. And, whatever, the rat. Those two are
ironic kings.
Yeah. For me, like, there's a bit of that. But, like, no, look, the show bags were great as a kid. They're so fun. And now they're like nostalgic fun. You know, you get one or two. They're a bit of nostalgic fun. They're not crap. But the Birdie Beetle bag sucks. It's the bag that everyone gets if they're like on the dole and can't afford a real one. It's like really small, and it's some chocolate called Birdie Beetle. And it's honestly like the Maggi noodles of bags. You get like a couple of those. I don't even know what Birdie Beetle is. It's like a poor man's Freddo frog. So you get a couple of those and like, you know, I don't know, like a puzzle, like one of those like find Birdie Beetle and maybe like, I don't know, a pair of socks. It sucks, that bag. The sumo bag, we're going back to the vaccine, but the sumo bag is the bag you get, because I used to get it quite a bit, when you're a kid and you don't have a lot of money, and your parents are only going to buy you one bag or maybe two max. Two is the max. So the sumo bag is the bag you get when you are like a kid. Your parents are, they're not going to spoil you. And the sumo bag is just filled with shit. It's just this giant bag, and it's like, it's this whole theory. Like, if you have a little bit of crap, it sucks. But if you have a whole bag of useless shit, well, then it's pretty good. You know what I mean?
All right, okay. So the quantity
beats quality. That's the sumo bag, which I do not recommend. Anyway, I would recommend you just pick out. You know what's cool about the you can tell I'm missing it, but is it on now? No, COVID.
No, it's on.
It's on. Yeah. I'm going. I am going. I'm so going. Sorry, but what you do as an adult is you go to get a show bag, and there's like nice adult ones, like nice food ones, and like chips ones with dips and stuff.
Has that ruined it?
No.
Is the point of an Easter show back that it's like really basic?
No, it's always had the nice ones for adults. I like all of them. It's got every. I
don't understand how this became like an Aussie
It's a phenomenon.
Nationalistic.
It is
a rite of passage.
It
essentially.
It is.
It's like that bunning snag and going to a birthday party with like hundreds of thousands over like butter.
Fairy bread. It's fairy bread.
And being like socially compelled to say, yeah, this is really, really good. Just
I love
bread, butter, and like sugar.
I love it. You know what's really funny? And not to keep divulging, but I rewatched that clip where you had a freak out meltdown about bunning snags. And I watched it like 10 times recently. I just watched it over and over because I thought it was so funny. And yeah, my stance is still the same.
Still the same. But I haven't gotten anything.
But I misspoke. I said that I misspoke. I said that the stale bread is the whole point of it. And someone was like, "That's not the whole point." And he's right. It's not. What I meant to say is, this is what I meant to say. I wanted to tell you this because it's the detail, right? So white bread. It shows how bogan Australia is. But white bread, tip-top bread, when you leave it out a bit. Right, you leave it out for like 3 to 4 hours. Yeah. The crust goes a little bit harder, so it's going. It's oxidizing. The bread goes a bit. The crust goes a bit harder, and the middle is like, if anything, goes a bit softer. Right, so it's like anyone would think that that's like a little bit worse, but from growing up, this is just me personally. From growing up, eating fairy bread, anything on Wonder White, like Tip Top, anything, just my whole life, just Aussie, kids, childhoods. I'm sure everyone listening would agree. From doing that my whole life, when you go to Bunnings and the bread is essentially stale, and you've got everything, I personally like it more.
It's the same fucking thing that this is the same thing that Jordan has too. You know how he likes, he'll like animations only if it's got like really crummy graphics?
Yeah, it's like he's an ideologue.
Yeah.
And I guess I am too.
But let's just say, look, and you've tried to justify it through like this fucking whole test kitchen approach that you've got there. It's like, actually, the oxidization process. Where's my white coat? Wait, hold on. The crumbs get really better because of that.
Because they're harder. Yeah. It's just what I'm used to.
It's called fermentation.
You know what it is? It's pure familiarity. To me, it's like putting on an old pair of jeans. I just love it. So I can't understand your gripes, but on a logical, like on a literal level, I can't understand it. But in a theoretical level, I do understand.
I'll admit this.
I will give you that.
I always get bunning snacks.
I love
it. But
them.
that's because, again, this is a really un-Australian thing to say. But
no,
to me, one
of
the most boring places on earth is Bunnings Warehouse. Dude,
Miss Love is Jamie Oliver. Sorry, go on.
I think you have to be Aussie to be like really excited about nails and hammers. I remember like going in there and people being excited. Like there's ads on, take your dad to Bunnings, he'll love it. It's like, that's a chore for me.
I know.
Going to Bunnings and just being like, no, check this out. This particular nut is slightly better than this particular nut. And trust me, 80 years ago, you couldn't even get these. Like, you should be thankful.
It's so true that is the Aussie experience. Like, that is what so many Aussies like. Like, tell us in the comments if you agree, but you are totally right. Like, that is what people like. That is what people want.
Bunnings have plans too. It's like, yes, soda's like a national park. I'd prefer to go there.
KMTO, Miss Love is spitting pure facts.
Look, people...
But I mean,
everyone is Australian over here.
Yeah,
they live in the dogma. They live in a world where they can't imagine anything else.
And we live in the dogma. No, I can see that.
My biggest problem is this attitude is getting all of these, whoever like is cooking these snags. There's always no room for improvement because they're like, we're making the best thing in the world. Clearly,
dude, you know what's crazy? And I know you're just like, you're an ideologue, you're a contrarian, you're just talking shit. And we've covered this, but I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, you would not want to make.
You know what I would say?
Taste better.
For me, it can't. For me, that specific food can't be improved. For me.
Okay. Here's the story. We need to really get into some substantive stuff. But like,
I wish they had more onions. I like more onions.
You go into like a nice Italian restaurant, okay? And you
different thing.
And there's a waiter that comes with a tuxedo and says, "Would you like sparkling or tap?" And you go like, "You know what? I'm in the mood to splurge. Sparkling, please."
Yeah.
And they're like, "And would you like the house special?" It's called Aussie Delight.
Yeah.
And it comes out with a stale tip-top bread, a fucking sausage, which still has that cold sticker on it, and a bunch of onions, which some people get freaked out because they, I don't know, would slip on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you be okay with it? It's delicious. And you'd be willing to pay whatever, $35, $40 for it.
The price is right with a Bunnings snack. I'm not happy to pay $50 for it. It's the whole package. I like paying $3 or whatever, $4. To me personally, it's like, you know what it is? This is what, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't think of this. This is exactly what it is. I'm a genius. All right, TikTok, what are we on? Twitch, prepare to be amazed. Bunnings snags are Australians' version of tacos. They're Aussie tacos.
Look, I understand that point of view, but
they're cheap,
I don't know how to
salty,
break this to you.
Is it carbs, meat? It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's nutritionally it might be the same, but I don't know. Tacos have coriander in it, so it's slightly better.
Not exactly.
But the point is, tacos are better than Bunnings snacks. It's like, come on.
I mean,
you can't be like
5 times out of 10.
Our version of the shepherd's pie is this blob of meat.
Our pie
equivalent.
Look, we're gonna have to. I know this is a sore spot for you. We're gonna have to agree to disagree. All I wanted to stipulate is that I was wrong to say when I said it was miscommunicated when I said the stale bread. That's the point. I mean, it's the package. If you leave Tip Top out for 3 hours, and
it gets better.
Yeah. I like it stale. I like stale bread on sausages.
The entire audience is with you.
Are they? I don't want to. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here.
They want to like. They're saying the consistency is good. It's consistently bad.
That's not true.
Anyways, okay, look.
But look. Anyway, I just look. We don't have to like agree to disagree. You know what? It would be the same. And I to extend an olive branch. It is pure. What do you call it? Familiarity. That's what it is to me. I know that if I went to Pakistan, probably not me because I'll eat anything. I love kind of everything. But I think if I went to Pakistan and, tried the fucking like deep fried meat patty in the oil, I would probably too be like, dude, this is kind of shit. And then you'd be like, it's our national look. It's
you know what? Fair enough.
Yeah.
If there is anything...
So I'm extending an olive branch here. Like I'm not being like, you're crazy. I get it.
Dude, it's just... If you go there, you're going to find a lot of things that are shit.
Yeah.
Like, for example, you know what? The version... Remember when I made you try Pac Cola? That green drink? Which is, let's be like, it's supposed to be the national drink, and you were like, "This is shit," and I was like, "You don't know anything. This is great." That was our version,
exactly. That's your Bunnings snack.
But what I'm saying is, if you said that, no, dude, this is shit, I would have to agree. Up to a certain point.
Why didn't I like it? What was wrong with it? I forgot.
It's not great.
Does it taste minty?
I made like my my girlfriend's dad try it, who was like, "Well, I like the novelty, but it's kind of shit."
Yeah. This is you know what's the takeaway here? I'm not being nationalistic. The takeaway here is human beings' ability to the extreme power, the elixir of nostalgia, familiarity, and like context, and just nostalgia and melancholy, and having something, like Easter lunch yesterday, because I'm a wog, believe it or not. Easter lunch 2 days ago. My mum boiled, in Croatian they're called kestene, and in English they're what are they called? Chestnuts.
Oh, okay.
Boiled chestnuts, and we used to do them over the fire, which is way better for those playing at home. But as soon as I put the chestnut in my mouth, I hadn't had one since I was probably like 15, maybe 13. As soon as I put it on my mouth, I swear to God, just teleported to being a kid again, like everything, like because I hadn't tried. It just took me there because I hadn't tried it since then. It was a teleportation machine. It was incredible. So that's all it is. It's not even, that's almost more poignant than the actual flavor. It's what it does for you.
What I'm getting from you is that I can't evaluate bunning snags with my taste buds. I need to evaluate with my heart and emotion.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
I wasn't using all my senses.
Yes, open your heart, man.
Well, look, we'll quickly move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Sorry, sorry. Let's get back to it.
Before we went on the break during the pre-show, we were talking about vaccine apprehensions that Miss Love has.
Yeah,
because I got my vaccine. Miss Love genuinely was afraid that he'll get vaccine off of me. He's not afraid of COVID. He's afraid of getting the vaccine, which is ridiculous. But and Miss Love's point is,
it's so ridiculous.
Miss Love, one of the points that you made was the time constraint. That vaccines take up to 10 years.
Yeah,
this has been so quick.
Yeah,
they've probably
there's a huge demand. There's a huge social pressure, huge political pressure.
All that's true, but here's what I learned. Because I was getting the Pfizer vaccine, which is an mRNA vaccine. So I wanted to just Google what the fuck is it that I'm actually going to have.
You have to say it like this though. Pfizer.
The Pfizer vaccine. The best one out there.
The best vaccine.
The one that does not kill you.
God, I miss him, mate.
But dude, okay, it
does not kill you.
It is very, very interesting. And this will tell you, look, back in the day, let's say for shit like measles or whatever, it took 10 years for us to come up with a vaccine because what we really, all vaccines are that they give you a little microdose of it, right? That's traditionally how vaccines are done. Measles vaccine took 10 years because they basically had to grow the virus in a lab to the point where it was so weak that it would not actually just take over you and your body is able to kill it and gets used to the virus. Yeah. That's how vaccines work. These mRNA vaccines are insane. They're really cutting edge stuff. What it does is, so instead of having a dead virus or something that goes inside of you, what they really do is, first of all, they don't send the entire virus. They send for COVID. The COVID virus has spikes on the outside, which is not the thing that is the most harmful, but it is the thing that actually enables the virus to penetrate into your body. So they're like, fuck the rest of the virus. We'll just focus on the spike. Because if that's what's getting in, then if we're able to build up immunity against that, then the rest of the virus is irrelevant. So that cuts down time. The second thing that they're doing is, for mRNA vaccines, they are basically not even sending the spike. They're sending the genetic language that the spike uses to make itself.
Wow.
So they're basically sending data into you off let's just say the formula for that spike. So your body accepts that formula, almost recognizes the spike because it's the same methodology and builds an immunity towards it. What that does is it cuts down time drastically. Wow. It wouldn't take years for you to build it. You don't need to build a virus. You just need to figure out what the formula is, which is why
that is a pretty good explanation.
As soon as the virus's formula was published by China, it took a few months for companies like Moderna to actually come up with a vaccine in testing phases, which is just unheard of because they're using basically a very, very modern technology.
That is actually...
So you should not be too afraid of this.
No, that's actually kind of a pretty thorough, good explanation for that because I didn't know that. That definitely settles my... it gives me a different perspective for sure.
It could still go wrong. But look, it's been tested. Close to 120 million people in the US have been vaccinated.
Yeah.
I don't know, tens of millions of people in the UK have been vaccinated. In Israel, most of the country has been vaccinated. So basically, we've got plenty of guinea pigs.
Yeah.
What we know is, from all of these experiments, that the Pfizer vaccine seems to be really good. And these basically mRNA ones seem to be good. The other ones are also good. All of the vaccines are really good at making sure you don't die from COVID. All of them. And they have a 100% rate of doing it.
It's just
some of them have a better rate of, let's say if you were vaccinated, some of them have a better rate of you not getting the virus at all if you were exposed to it. And some of them have
lessening the blow.
So you will get it, but you won't get really sick. It'll just be like a flu. So any vaccine is good for that. The problem with the Astra one is that it's creating the blood clots, which we went through in. It's not creating blood clots for everyone. Young people have a 1 in 100,000 chance of suffering from this blood clot problem. But then like it's irrelevant. We should probably not even talk about this because Australia just has no option. Like we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
There's a huge queue for getting all of these mRNA vaccines that don't have that. We've invested a lot into getting a stable supply for the AstraZeneca. So there's really no point. And I've heard, I say not heard, it's verifiable that a lot of doctors and healthcare professionals are refusing to get the AstraZeneca vaccine. Maybe
that's the one. I mean, I haven't. I got to stop getting my news from like conspiracy theorists because I basically, most of I listen to InfoWars now just for the entertainment factor because it's just so. It's like I want to hear.
Wait, how do you even watch InfoWars?
He's got a website.
Oh, so you go to
bandtv.com.
You directly go on Infowars.com.
Yeah, directly. And like, because I like to hear two polar opposite opinions on any issue, just because I think it's like healthy. So I'm very, very, very skeptical of him, of what he says, like almost exclusively. Most of the shit he says is pretty far-fetched. But it's interesting to hear. But, I didn't look into it at all, but he was like, it gives you dementia. But again, I don't have any of the science.
Do you feel dementia?
You seem completely fine. So like,
but apparently, the worst effects are after the second dose. I've only gotten my first one.
Oh shit!
So we'll see how it goes.
So it's a reintroduction. But look, I don't want to. I'm not going to sit here and spread Alex Jones sort of conspiracy theories that I have barely looked into myself. I think it's healthy to be what do you call it? Skeptical. To be skeptical about anything, to look into that, to explore all
something
options.
Invasive, I understand.
Yeah. But that was a really interesting and actually like really good explanation of why.
Yeah, and I want to again stress on this because I know Jordan isn't here, but still we would ideally not get cancelled. The AstraZeneca vaccine is safe.
Yeah.
Or
1 in 100,000.
Majority of the people.
Yeah. 1 in 100,000.
The thing is, the 1 in 100,000 figure dropped from 1 in a million.
That's a huge jump. That's a huge jump. And that's something you could... Look, we're just giving you the facts. You look into it yourself and you make up your own assertions. But
And there's statistically speaking, you're more likely to die from COVID than you are from
Of course.
vaccine.
I think vaccination is a great thing. I think it's like... I mean, the amount of... deaths it's prevented since polio and is extraordinary, but I think it's more just in my personality to fixate on the worst case scenarios. That's just me. Even when they were doing so in high school, when we were all in high school in Australia, there was they administered a ovarian cancer for like females across Australia when we were in high school. And I remember one girl it wasn't from my school, it was a friend's school.
Had a reaction?
Had a really bad reaction and she lost her sense of taste. Gone.
Forever. Holy shit, that's so good. That would be so crippling for you.
I'd kill myself.
Get rid of my penis, not my taste buds.
Absolutely. I would I don't know what I'd do. I think that maybe it's rough,
But here's another thing. Wherever there's a sad story, there's also good news. So people that have you heard of long-term COVID?
No.
Long-term COVID is a very small population of people that get COVID.
Wait a second.
Just don't recover. They're never at 100%. They always feel lethargic.
Wait a sec. This isn't, maybe that's what I've got. So I'm tired all the time.
It's similar.
But this isn't...
But you don't have COVID, so...
This isn't... I've never done the test, but this isn't... you're not talking about the strain in England that came...
No, it's not particularly strain. A few people get affected by COVID more, like... As in they recover from COVID, but they never get back to 100% fitness. They're always kind of slow, and they basically, like... if let's say they were able to do like 2 kilometers of run very easily after 1K, they're not huffing and puffing.
That's brutal though. Just like a prolonged.
And it's just like, but here's the good news, and they're still doing more testing on it. Apparently, a lot of people have reported that we thought that we're just gonna have to live with this. We got the vaccine and we're back to normal.
Okay, that's incredible.
So there's not enough data to say definitively that's the case, but a lot of people with long-term COVID are reporting this. So there are good news. Man, I'll be honest. Like, I understand your concerns. Like, when I first...
I'm just skeptical. I'm naturally skeptical of everything. That's just my nature.
And you should be. And actually, that's what I like about Australians too. Like, just... You guys are more skeptical. We just take shit, man.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest. Like, when I first found out about that blood clotting episode in Australia, when like it came, for some reason, whenever it was happening overseas, you're like, I don't know, the TGI seems to be good enough. But when it happened here, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it.
It makes it a little more personal.
Yeah, it makes it like, well, it could happen. It's Russian roulette. I know the odds of it are way less than what an actual Russian roulette.
Yeah.
Way worse.
Way higher.
1 in 6 is much worse than 1 in 100,000.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So then, like, you know, if people win the lotto, that's the worst kind of lotto ever.
My concern is that number will keep dropping.
I hope not. But they're still continuing with it. I think what the other thing they're now doing is that some people who are more prone to getting blood clots are not being offered the AstraZeneca vaccine even in Australia. They're being offered like Pfizer and whatever the other.
Because people with, you know, if you have high cholesterol, you're more inclined to get blood clots. Like if you have heart condition, if you have diabetes.
But the fucked up thing is, Miss, it seems like people that get blood clots are not people that have pre-existing conditions and shit.
That's bizarre.
It seems like young people are getting... If you're healthy, you're apparently more likely to get blood clots than if you are like really old.
That's almost...
Which is why the instructions are avoid giving it to people under 50. And you're like, what?
Yeah. That's almost like... That's almost like more scary in a way, isn't it? Because it's just kind of like fit and healthy, look out.
Yeah, I know. But like, it's useless to even say anything about it because there's no out. Like
no. I understand. We don't have. The
government really fucked this up, man.
Yeah.
Like they really, really did fuck it up. They put too many eggs in one basket.
Dude, are we gonna say it? One of us has to say it.
What?
The Liberal government. I was standing in for Jordan there. Go on.
Government. And they like straight up lied to us throughout the process. They were like, we're the first in the queue. We've got 10 million doses of Pfizer. We've got 100 million doses of Astra. We've got 20 million doses. And I'm like, yeah, we're 24 million. That's heaps.
Yeah.
But it turns out they were like, I guess they weren't lying, but they really underestimated, which they shouldn't have, how much demand would be for these vaccines.
But, I feel like that's classic libs of like, you know, they're not known for their social investment, like social infrastructure. They don't give a shit. They just gut social infrastructure. They're just like, fuck hospitals, fuck Medicare, fuck schools, fuck healthcare, privatize healthcare. They don't give a shit.
Do you know what it was? I think like when COVID hit and Scott Morrison's popularity went up,
he was like, I can go to Hawaii.
Really cocky.
Yeah, and
I think they got lazy.
Yeah.
They were like, we've got this.
Yeah.
Like, and they keep telling us how much better off we are from the rest of the world. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think Jordan's made an entire video on this. So
yeah.
But you know, like, they did get cocky.
Yeah, they got a what's the word where you I forgot the word, but yeah, cocky. Like they careless. They just got careless, really. Yeah, and I agree. But yeah, you know.
All right. Anyways, look, we'll move on. So I'll give you an update on my second dose.
Let's see how he goes.
The first dose that I got, honestly, I came back home and I felt fine. And I got like a bit of a fever. I had chills, but like really manageable, not like a high fever, a low fever. And then I was fine. My brother and my dad also got on the same day, and their arm was hurting throughout the night. My arm was like, it was fine.
Yeah.
But they say that the second dose is worse.
All right, well, look, yeah, that's good info there.
Good info there. So you guys are all right. Everyone's saying complacent government. Yes, absolutely. And there's so many things about the whole complacency as well. Anyways, look, we'll move on to our next topic.
Just quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know how you spell this. NLY TND11 said, R.I.P. Ali.
Why? Oh, because I'm going to die soon.
Everyone's saying R.I.P. Ali. Keena Gator, R.I.P. Ali. Stop saying R.I.P. He'll probably outlive us all because of this. Or die much earlier. No, look, I don't know. I haven't looked into it enough. I can't just sit here and say, I heard Alex Jones say it gives you dementia and be like, facts. Like, no, not facts. One very, very radical, polarized opinion that is probably not true.
It is good that you are critical about it.
Yeah.
Look, the first segment.
Rest in Pakistan.
The first segment. The second, what?
Rest in Pakistan. R.I.P. Ali. Rest in peace. Right, he will be missed. Rest in peace, Ali. Everyone's saying rest in peace.
Come on. I thought I did a public service.
It looks like our audience is very skeptical as well, but
Oh, maybe I'm not helping it. But let's just say I got the good one. Hopefully you get the good one.
Yeah, yeah. But no, right. Moving on.
The first, look, there's a bit of a, there's a reason why I want to bring this up.
Yeah.
It's about
oh shit.
Peter Dutton.
Yeah.
So there's this new problem, which before I get into this, I want to make an announcement. Just before I came on this pod, I got a message from someone that lives in Melbourne, and they asked me this. They were saying that, hey, there's a few refugees and asylum seekers that need help in terms of like housing and stuff or whatever. Do you know anyone
like legal,
that is involved in this area? And I was like, I don't know anyone personally, but what I can do is I can do a pod shout out. And if one of you listening is involved with asylum seekers or know someone that is
like lawyers or like NGOs,
I think anything really. I think so I can hook you up with the people or like the representative that needs help.
Get in contact.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's
because I think they reached out to Ali, and Ali was like, "I'm still doing my law degree, bro."
Well, I have no experience in this, so I don't know how I could be of help. But
do you want
oh yeah, just email? Like hit me up on Instagram or email me on like podcast at friendlyjordies.com. And yeah,
PSA
that would work it out. But
good on you.
Here's the thing about asylum seekers. So ever since there's this huge, I think it's a criminal scam, which is right under our nose. And because it's about asylum seekers, no one really gives a shit or knows about it. So the scam is, ever since the Liberal government came in, whatever, in like 2013, 14, the whole stopping of the boat people, on the surface, it stopped. But then there's this new scam, which has been brewing. So what's happening is that organizations within Australia are asking migrants from like countries like Fiji, Thailand, India to come to Australia on a visit visa, apply for asylum over here, and there's a huge demand for picking fruit in regional Australia that you could get sponsored for, and that would be your pathway to immigration. The problem is this pathway does not work, like, because in order to be considered a refugee, you need to be a genuine refugee. You cannot be an economic migrant.
I was going to say asylum is not an economic migrant.
So 95% of these people are getting rejected.
Right.
So basically then they have to go back home.
And they were told...
But they've been told that they would
wrong
get
information. Really?
So they've been basically scammed off of money. The thing is, they don't go back immediately, so they still stay here for like 3 years. And it just... once their application gets rejected, it goes into the tribunal, which is called the Administrative Appeals Tribunal. It is it's before court. It's like a independent body which you don't even have to be a lawyer to be a judge in it, but they basically assess and say if the Department of Immigration made any mistake.
Mm-hmm. So you don't have to be a lawyer.
Interestingly, look, I know a bit about AAT because I've studied about this. You don't have to be a lawyer.
It's just the fruit picker there being like, he's like, when the mango goes down, the gavel.
You know what it is? There's actually, here's your corruption bit. It's actually people, Liberal Party politicians that basically have been fired or have left.
Yeah.
They get cushiony jobs in the AAT where they shit sit there and they get like, I don't know, 300, 400,000 a year out of
consultants.
And they just decide fates of refugees and shit.
Right.
But anyway, so it's been building up this backlog of cases that go into the AET because all of them are getting rejected. You cannot get a visa if you're not genuinely threatened, or those are the rules. And the government doesn't seem to be doing anything about it. But the cases keep building up.
Do they have they admitted that? Is it like has it been proven? Have they actually admitted that they've given contrary information?
Well, I'm guessing the organizations that have asked basically have scammed these people.
That was government organizations.
No, not government. Organized, like business, private enterprises that have tried to do it. I think their defense in court would obviously, if they are even taken to court, like it seems like a thing that the government does not really care much about.
Right.
But their argument would be that we didn't guarantee you that you're going to get it. We said this is a potential pathway. Now, if it gets rejected, I'm sorry.
But do you think they said that?
They probably 100%. They would have said that.
Like
their incentive is for them to come over because they're getting a lot of money from it.
Yeah.
I'm
what's your
certain
opinion?
that they would not guarantee it.
So do you think they've been scammed?
I think they've been scammed.
Right.
I think they've been sold a dream that is not possible. The dream was that because of COVID or whatever, there's this huge labor shortage, which is true. They would have Googled it and they would have noticed that, yes, there is a labor shortage. And Australia needs people to pick fruit. Again, that's also true. But the pathway to picking that fruit was faulty.
I mean, I sort of assumed that was just how the policy was anyway. But it wouldn't have been fair. It would have been fucked if they were, if they gave false information or false pretenses, or if they even sort of presented the narrative in this way where it's like, this is how you can, get Australian citizenship. And then just being like, just kidding, like that would be fucked,
It would be, and you could only imagine, like, people that come here, they want to burn all their bridges before coming, right?
Shit.
I know so many. You know what's the other thing? It's not just the economic impact of having to go back. It's the fucking emotional impact that it has on people. I know personally. I know people that are trying to get citizenship, and one of the biggest arguments that they make for just like make or break, I need to get it, like there's no other option, is that the social stigma that they face if they go back.
Really?
Basically, as soon as they go back without citizenship, their entire community say, you're a fucking loser.
Really?
You went there and you still came back. Like, is there anyone more useless than you on earth? So they
is that what it's like?
Their families do it. They're like, you were our ticket to like some sort of like a better life, and you have come back. Like, we invested in you. We sent you over there,
right? Because they had to. Back. Yeah, because they're not like rich people. They had to save. No. Yeah, that would be hard.
And the thing is, if you're rich, coming to Australia or any other first world country is rather easy. Because a lot of people go through like these business visa programs, which is invest $2 million and you will get citizenship. But these guys don't have the $2 million.
But surely that's been. I would assume that was the policy from forever. That it was like, you come over, you work for a while, maybe you get sponsored, maybe you don't. I don't think it's
changing. I think there's a long-term trend over here. The long-term trend was that migrations really began. These large-scale migrations have existed for thousands of years, but large-scale migrations where people like me are very commonly observable, let's say, in Australia. Less so in Australia. You go to places like the UK, the US. US is like a majority, or is going to be majority minorities. All of this is accelerated since World War II, right? After World War II, there was an immediate need. A lot of men had died, and you needed factories that needed people to work in. So women filled in a lot of that vacuum, and then they got these workers from the third world. If you're in France, they picked ex-colonies like Algeria, Morocco. If you were in the UK, again, ex-colonies like India, and they pretty much owned most of the world. Afro-Caribbean. And the demand was steady because the Western world was still largely a manufacturing society that needed labor. we're now moving away from that, where we need less people. Our economy is changing. For the same job, you need less people, and
it's more about specialization.
It's more about specialization. So the requirement for immigrants is just lowering. Having said that, there's massive skill shortages in Australia because of COVID. Like I know computer programmers that would have gotten $60,000 job if they were lucky, that are now being like offered $100,000 because there's just been skilled migration was halted because of COVID. So there is still a big requirement, but those are highly skilled people.
Yeah,
that was not the case in the post-war immigration. But places like Canada literally picked up entire villages. They would go to places like India. So the Canadian government would say, okay, they'll go to like places like India. It's like we'll take an entire village.
Shit.
That's how many people they needed. That's clearly not the case. So the migration rate will have to drop down, particularly those kinds of migrations. And the other problem about that is that there are more people that want to leave their countries. So this is what's creating that rift.
Yeah, okay.
And you'll have to deal with it. There's no other way to. And with climate change, there's going to be more and more people that would want to come in.
Oh, that completely changes the story.
There's going to be less and less people that we would want in.
Yeah, I mean, so there is a huge demand of like immigration. Like there's heaps of people that just want to still come to Australia.
Yeah, people still want to come to, and with COVID, most of the economies in the world have contracted, which is one of the biggest push factors. I'll give you an example. Like when my parents decided to move here, it was during a recession in Pakistan, but more importantly, it was during like violent. There was an uptake of this was during like post 9/11 terrorist attacks. So Pakistan went from being largely safe to really not that safe for a bit, and now it's gone back to again being relatively safe. Had those two combinations of like extremism increasing and an economic recession, had they not occurred, I wonder if my parents would have decided to move.
They probably wouldn't have.
And so those are one of the larger push factors, because my dad had a decent job and like we were part of the it was easier for us to move.
I mean, I don't think it's like, I understand. I think if there's someone like fleeing from like a war-torn country, it's like a legal right to seek asylum. But my problem is like I don't see. I think apart from that factor, if you are a skilled worker and you're specialized. Isn't it just common sense that we want people, apart from people that are fleeing war-torn areas, that aside, you want people that are skilled as opposed to just like unskilled? It's literally the difference to me. Like your parents had either skilled or like money. I think that's kind of important. Like it's just to come like, like economic migrants with no skills that can't speak the language is like. Well, I mean, I don't like.
Here's a technical problem with having that view. The view is right. Like in terms of economic utilitarianism, yes, you don't need people that are unskilled. You need people that are highly skilled.
I mean, you don't have to call it that.
No, but it is what it is. But the problem is that
I wouldn't go that
all
far.
All of our international laws were set up post World War II, where the world was different. So right now, legally, your opinion is wrong because what you're saying is illegal. Anyone
right
that seeks asylum in any other country based on persecution that is racial, political, ethnic, there's a few other categories in here, you have to offer them asylum and you have to process them.
Right.
It is illegal for you to send them back.
But how do you quantify that? Like, what is the?
Well, then that's what the entire application process is about.
Right. Yeah.
You decide if they're legit or not. But this was set up at a time when most of the countries wanted people like that.
Yeah.
They had no problem with it. They set this precisely because they wanted a lot of labor coming in from these places. Like the U.S. was on the they came up with these humanitarian sort of laws, but it was also like
it was mainly a way to get
economic rationale.
Yes,
behind it.
Yeah.
Usually, economic rationales complement humanitarian approaches.
Totally, yeah.
Now we're living in a world where our laws are based on that time, where the economic rationale has now changed. So now all of a sudden you're getting countries that are just not willing to accept international law. You get a bunch of boat people.
Reform the law.
Let's say like you live in Greece.
Yeah.
And there's a boat full of Libyan migrants that come to your doorstep. There is a war in Libya. They qualify all kinds of asylum seekers.
If there's a war, I think absolutely there should be.
But Greece is going through one of the worst contractual recessions in their country.
They're still going through that, right?
Their economy just has to readjust. They've shrunk by 20% and they've just stayed there.
That's fucked.
It's brutal. But and you understand them. They're like, imagine 20% of your economy shrinking, and then there's a bunch of these people that come to your doorstep who you're legally obliged to accept. You know what ends up happening? Some right-wing parties go like, fuck it.
Isn't that what happens?
That's what's happened.
Yeah, are they still in Greece? They're called like, there's a right-wing party.
Yeah, some of them live in Greece. Some of them have been thrown back, which is, the thing is, even migrants realize that their future isn't in Greece. They're usually wanting a passage to Germany.
Yeah.
So Greece just like, all right, you have to take another passage because we're not allowing you. So they end up just being stranded. So anyway, so what I'm saying is that this is the problem with these universal constitutional laws that we end up creating. Like, from now onward, for the rest of humanity, this will be the law. It's like, dude, circumstances change. And your perceptions of human rights will change with that because the world is a harsh place. Humanitarian is...
Well, it's a forever shifting place. I mean, there's a difference between being an ideologue and being pragmatic. Even, do you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like that law is sustainable till a point where something is physically unsustainable. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't...
Yes, I understand what you mean.
Kill him with kindness, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, we've got, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's sort of just like, this many people, our economy can't support this many people. It's like, well, we should try to give them a shot. And it's like, sure, but the infrastructure might crumble. The whole thing might fall to shit.
Yes, and it's clearly evident, at least in the last 20 years, where in Australia, the infrastructure... has not been able to keep up with the immigration.
Yes, exactly. And you can thank the libs again for that.
Yeah, and well, this is the case even in the U.S. Their infrastructure is crumbling.
But is that because the Republicans?
It's both.
Right.
To be honest, like it's hard to just pick a villain over here. It's both.
So you're saying that the laws should be reformed, or they should have?
I'm not saying that look, ideally in a world, these laws are good.
Yeah,
you don't want to turn back someone that is being,
but there's that
has a reassionable chance of getting killed.
No, I'm not saying you should. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. But I'm saying that like those, look, you can, if you read a book like The Strange Death of Europe by Douglas Murray and look at the numbers in Germany and France and England to a lesser extent, the law has been abused by economic migrants. That's just a fact. And like on a grand scale. It
has, but that's what I'm saying. Countries were okay with that, because they wanted it.
No, I know that, but like, I don't know exactly what you said. I don't know if that's still the situation.
That is definitely not the situation. But
but I understand.
In an ideal world, look, you need to reformulate laws depending on your conditions. But here is the issue. These laws came into being after World War II.
Yeah.
World War II was such a pivotal point because what you had was basically America being the dictator of the world. It emerged as, with the Soviet Union, the superpower.
Yeah.
And the Soviet Union had its own issues. So basically it was able to set up all of these laws independently. Today, the U.S. is not nearly in that situation. The U.S. is, my opinion... crumbling, and there's another segment that we need to talk about, which is relating to the U.S. crumbling. So, but let's just say they nearly don't have the same amount of authority that they possessed after the Second World War.
Yeah.
In order to reformulate these laws and get everyone on board, you need to have a figure like that. The other solution is that you try to work it in like in a multilateral method where like you get the big players, which is China, US, the security and the Security Council members, the 5, and Germany, essentially all would have to agree with the new rules. And the way the world is moving, these frictions are increasing, not decreasing. So I just don't think it's likely that these rules would be reassessed. There just isn't any political space for it to happen.
Right. Oh, because in regards to wars.
In regards to refugees, in regards to how do we deal with the refugee problem?
Yeah.
So the likelihood of coming up with new laws or new rules seem to diminish with time. Simultaneously, the problem of refugees is increasing and is projected to like boom soon, especially because of climate change.
Yeah. So that is like that factor is so pivotal that it's almost like a completely different story. It's like that's like an existential crisis. It's not even about. Do you know what I mean? It's such a big issue.
It's a huge issue.
Yeah, like it's almost like practically dealing with that is almost an impossibility. The only thing, from my opinion, is the only way. You look at the source of the problem. The source of the problem is fossil, like gas, coal, fossil fuel emissions. You want to save. You want to solve that problem. Address global warming. Climate change.
Yes, you do. Desperately, you need to do that because if you don't, then
it's starting to freak me out for sure.
The others will take over. It's just not sustainable if you keep. But
no, it's not sustainable.
Let's just say in an ideal world, we restrict ourselves to like the 2.5 degree rise, right? The global temperature rise. That is enough to create a lot of problems. We're probably at like 1.3, 1.2 right now, and we've already started noticing.
Let alone biodiversity and the bees and fucking plants, like literally biodiversity, like that is. Everyone will die.
Yeah, and you've already with 1%. What you now have is internally displaced refugees. You see that pop up,
and you mentioned that
particularly near the equator, where
well, not Australasia, Polynesia, that region.
Polynesia, anywhere that's closer to the equator, because it goes all the way from like South America or like Central America and Polynesia on the other end. But places where there is a high concentration of population, that's where the 1 degree is really showing effects. So I was looking at these studies. There were 2 studies, 3 actually, that I personally have read up on. One was based in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is, again, it's basically a delta with lots of water.
What's a delta mean?
It's basically where all of the rivers from the Himalayas, the Ganges River, and all of these rivers end up flowing into the Bay of Bengal. Right. And Bangladesh is basically located around there. So
gotcha.
They've got plenty of water, which is why there's such a high it's the most densely populated area in the world. So there's extremely high concentration of people in this small area.
Most humans per square meter.
Most humans per square meter. Essentially, and that is true. And it's because of the abundance of water. But the problem with global warming is that, look, the icebergs seem to be melting and the water level seems to be rising. So it started off with the peripheries of Bangladesh being swallowed up by the ocean. So you had houses and villages that were just at the river banks, but now the river banks are the river. So they've had to flee inwards into their own country. So they're not going, and they're facing problems with these other villages that are more inland that these people are taking over, right? So that's with just 1%. Eventually, this would increase. So that's one example. The other example was...
Can you link me to some articles about that?
I can definitely
specifically,
do that.
That's interesting, yeah.
In Pakistan, there's a desert called... actually, Pakistan and India both share this desert. It's called the Thara Desert, which is a really interesting place because it's a harsh land, but it was able to sustain population because you can grow a few crops there. It's one of the only deserts in the world where you can grow crops.
Mad.
And because of the rainfall patterns changing, so that place is becoming inhabitable now.
Right.
The droughts are lasting longer. There's malnutrition, which is being caused because the crops are not at the same level. So those people have to move, and they're moving either inwards towards Pakistan, towards more settled areas, and they're facing issues over there, or they're going, because a lot of these people are actually Hindu, so they move across the border to India. Either way, there's refugees, internal refugees.
Shit.
That's one example. Then in India, Maharashtra, a state. Sorry, I can go on and on where it's already evident. The problem is that it's beginning in areas
that are already arid
and are vulnerable
to
climate change, and it will creep up if we keep going at the same level rate.
Shit.
And they're gonna come to us. Indonesia, one of the big examples is
Floods.
Indonesia. It's just because Indonesia is such a weird place, right? It's a bunch of islands, and so it's more susceptible to water levels
tsunamis
rising. And Indonesia is really close to us, so those refugees are gonna come our way. So it's just a thing that's the rate of refugees is gonna keep increasing, whereas the likelihood of these problem solving is going to keep decreasing.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Bummer.
It's I don't know, it's brutal. I mean, Indonesians are nice, but
but I'm an advocate of Big Australia, but even I recognize that this is not the way I wanted it to be bigger.
How many, what's a number? Indonesians, give me a number.
Indonesia is the most populous Muslim country in the world. So their numbers, I think, are close to 300 million people.
Shit! That's a lot of fucking people.
Huge country.
What's Australia, 20 million?
24 million. But all 300 million people aren't going to move.
No, I know, but that's
enough wood for us to be petrified.
That's a big...
yeah.
It was, I don't know. Well, look, food for thought. I was thinking about the... was the Bali bombings the only terrorist attack that happened in Indonesia that was like sort of...
Not the only terrorist
attack.
But
not the only, but I meant to like targeting Westerners more.
No, they've been, but like Bali is, we remember Bali because like many Australians died in Bali. Usually when terrorist attacks would happen in Indonesia, it would be like other Indonesians. But
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, apart from like people getting busted for drugs and...
I think it was the biggest.
It was that
but
Bali.
There were others too.
There were others?
Yeah, there were others. Because like, I think 200, 300 people died in it. So it was a big...
Shit. It was really so bizarre. I remember... going like in Indonesia, we went to different islands. One island would be Muslim, one would be like Buddhist, one would be like Hindu. So like you go to one and you're in like Buddhist village and you literally catch a ferry to another island and it's just like, Allah. I'm like, what the fuck? It's so bizarre.
Well, let me share some good news too, which I had predicted a few years ago. But the good news is...
more bunning snags as a result.
The good news is that problem, the Bali bombing kind of problem, and the Islamic radical problem is actually decreasing.
Well, that's good.
I mean, so there are some positives.
No, but look, these are the grandiose issues of our time, the existential threats to every person on Earth, and like... I've been moving house all day. I just can't deal with it, darling. No, honestly, I don't know. Like,
no,
I don't. Do you have any? What the hell are the solutions? They're so impossible.
The most basic and the most important one is that
I should walk to work.
Every country really needs to take climate change seriously, because the problem
is Biden doing that?
Biden is doing, but he's trying. But Biden, look, this is okay. Let's move on to our because that was third segment.
Yeah,
because this was okay. I came to this realization, and I'm glad Jordan isn't here, so that because this could get us canceled. But
I mean, he'll come back and it'll be canceled. Jesus.
No. But like, look, this. I think it's an observation worth noting. So let me first tell you a news story, and I want to tell you my take on it.
Okay.
So
I'm going to censor Ali here. Go on.
The state of Georgia and a few other states came up with new voting laws, which are more restrictive for people.
Georgia in the States, you're saying?
Yeah, the state of Georgia in the United States. And I think a few other
restrictive.
Yeah, more restrictive. Like you need, the Republican playbook.
Because Georgia is a Republican.
You need to show your ID. You need to show like your fucking butt cheeks in order. And
Oh, but they don't want illegals to vote.
Yeah, and making sure you're not illegal. But basically, it's essentially a gerrymandering tactic, right? They want to keep getting in.
Yeah.
Now, the Democrat incentive is for this to not happen, right?
Do the Dems want illegal citizens to vote?
To be fair, they wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
The Republicans wouldn't mind either if illegals were voting for them. This is the thing. And this is where this is why I think it's important to note this.
Yeah.
But so what's happening is that companies and corporations, corporations like MLB, Major League Baseball, which
dude, that's a Simpsons joke.
What? What's the Simpsons joke?
Are you fucking serious?
What? It's a thing.
Are you serious? Okay. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Bart, I have to say this because it's just too funny you said that. Everyone will know this. I'm sure they'll know this. Maybe not. But anyway, they're like, there's a thing where Bart gets on a drug and it's like Tramaquil or something. It's basically like Ritalin, but intense. And it's just like, it's focusing. It helps you focus. And it's like, and it's just speed and it makes his pupils dilate. And they come home and he's just like wrapping tin foil around himself. And then he puts it, and he's got a trash can lid on, and there's fucking, what are they called? Like coat hangers hanging everywhere. It's like, what are you doing, bro? It's like, why are you wearing a trash can? What are the things for? The coat hanger. It's like, it's to block the satellite that's been spying on me. And they're like, okay. Who's spying on you? And he's like, who else? Major League Baseball. And then the best part is, you know how it ends? Oh. He gets a tank, and everyone's like, he's going crazy. And he goes, and shoots. It goes,
straight to a satellite.
And the satellite goes down, and then it's just like, hey, he's right. They've got all our stats on here. Cap size, seat choice, favorite bats. And then it's just some guy. I'll just give you the whole thing. The guy rocks up, and it's like, Don Mattingly or whatever. And he's just like, hey, everybody. And he's like, what are you doing here? He's at baseball. And he's like, little Bart here was right. We are spying on you. And they're like, what? And he's like, now, would you like to know the horrible, horrible truth? Or do you want to see me suck a few dingers? And then they go, dingers. Like, boom. And then like, as he's leaving, there's all the paper from the machine. And he just goes, yoink, and puts it under his hat. And he's like, so anyway, very, very, very funny that you were like, who else? Major League Baseball. It's just funny. But yeah.
But so Major League Baseball has basically refused to organize events, and a lot of corporations are boycotting Georgia because they're saying, and the narrative is, their narrative is that this is restricting African Americans from voting.
Right.
That's a civil rights issue. So unless Georgia stops doing this, we're not going to engage in business.
Is it? African Americans are citizens. Surely it's just illegal.
It's different ways of looking at it. So yes, the issue is true. African Americans disproportionately get affected by it. So there is less representation of African Americans during elections because they are less. Look, minorities generally are less. They're less likely to vote. Firstly,
yeah, I know that,
right? And so they're less likely to have all their documents together. They're less likely to have been registered for decades before.
It's just another red tape.
Yeah, so it's not particularly like you're black, so you can't come in, but there are ways that do disproportionately affect African Americans. So on one hand, you could say, okay, that's a principal position. Here's another way of looking at it, and I would encourage you to look at it from this angle too. You have a divided elite in the US. They're both trying really hard to get into power because they want to form the political fabric of their country. Republicans choose voting suppression as a way to do it, and Democrats resist it as a way to stay in power or keep getting into power, right? There's no controversies over here. So
that's a fact.
Here's another way of looking at it.
Republicans have done that since Al Gore.
Democrats are basically sanctioning their own country. usually sanctions. So let's say a country like Iran has does something, starts producing nuclear bombs or whatever, starts researching into nuclear bombs. What we do is we're going to discourage you from doing this by putting sanctions on you. So you're not going to be able to engage in the capitalist market as long as you engage in this behavior. America is doing exactly that, but in a cannibalistic way for its own country. So what I'm trying to exemplify over here is that this is a society that isn't, the friction is going bananas.
Jesus Christ.
Where you've got the Democrats that have gotten into power sanctioning states from within their own country. And by the way,
no, the Republicans. The Republicans are doing that.
No, the Democrats are, because they're in power right now. And Georgia is a Republican state.
But how are they sanctioning Georgia?
By saying that if you engage in these, if you legislate these new laws, the corporations that are under our control are not going to do business with you. Now,
the Dems run Major League Baseball?
No, but that's what I'm saying. So Major League Baseball, on the surface, has done it as a corporate decision. But the reason, let's be real, capitalists don't have political opinions. All they care about is making money, and Major League Baseball is not different. So the reason why they're doing it is because if they entertain Georgia, the backlash that they might be facing in blue states, which is a bigger source of revenue for them. So that's how Democrats are indirectly doing this.
Gotcha.
But the whole point is that it's becoming really cannibalistic, where now they're sanctioning their own country. So not only does America have a problem with Iran, but America has a problem with America.
What do you think the Republican dogma would be in justifying it?
Well, I'll tell you what their dogma is, but I do want to make sure that I get this point across, because this is the main point. I am not saying that it's a good idea. It's Georgia is doing the right thing, and I am pro African Americans voting. But
I think everyone is.
Yeah, everyone is. But what I'm saying is that the Democrats, there is a possibility. There's another way of looking at it, that the Democrats are basically using this social issue to authorities, like almost being a bit dictator-like. Because the net effect of it is that if the laws pass, Republicans gain. If the laws don't pass, Democrats gain.
Yeah.
But Democrats are painting it as a civil rights issue, and the Republicans are painting it as cancel culture. So they're saying that, look at these Democrats. They're doing this because they want to cancel anyone that has their own opinion. They're both giving tangents of these social issues to mobilize their own factions. But the real issue is that there's a division amongst the elites, and they're really going after each other.
Damn. That's some like red pilled shit. But you know what I find a lot of the time? A lot of the times these sort of social issues are just fronts for the elite. They're pawns in the elite, for the actual axis of power. They're just sort of means to get to people's emotional side, as opposed to, because it's a lot easier to be emotional about racism than global warming. No one cares about fucking, like, for some reason climate change is this it's like this weird malaise now of like it's this bipartisan. You know what I'm saying? People are.
I strongly encourage people that are analyzing this issue to not look at the process of what's happening, but the effect of what's happening. So if you look at, for example, voter suppression being a civil rights issue, let's say you are successful, who benefits? Is it a social movement that advocates reparations? For example, that's one of the policies that civil rights activists advocate for. That, by the way, Democrats don't agree with. Is it a civil rights issue that will give you reparations? No. This civil rights issue will have a net effect of getting more votes for the Democrats, which somehow, according to Zeitgeist, is better for civil rights. Now, it might be true, but I think it's debatable. I personally don't think that Democrats are angels and Republicans are devils. They both have been equally responsible in fucking up minority issues. So I'm basically saying when you're looking at these issues, check who's benefiting from it. The way I look at it is that the Democrats benefit if it goes one way and the Republicans benefit if it's going the other way. In either scenario, African Americans aren't necessarily getting a lot from it.
Yeah. Would the takeaway be, just to zoom out, it seems to me that if you are going on the banner of cancel culture or racism or whatever, it's like it's almost obfuscating the truth, because it's like, well, let's scratch the surface. Cancel culture, no, it's actually power. Racism, no, it's actually power. And those things do conflate, but
that's, you've hit the nail. You've hit what's the expression? Hit the
nail on the head. Yeah.
That it's one. Basically, I look at it as simplified. There's a stratification of elites. If things go one way, one elitist group benefits. If things go the other way, another elitist group benefits.
But surely, if the Dems are the lesser of two evils, because they're, generally speaking, their policies are better for people and the world.
I'm not arguing that.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? But what I'm saying is
generally
that it's a shit show nonetheless.
Yeah.
That there's a fight going on. Now, there might be someone that you go for and might be someone that you don't go for. I'm not saying who's better. I'm saying there's a fight. And this fight is getting dirty. And this relates to our and I'm taking full use of Jordan not being here. This relates to our
big Australia.
my last point, not big Australia.
Yeah.
The Quad. The Quad is a political coalition, let's say, which is it consists of 4 countries.
Do they all ride quad bikes to their meetings?
That's the only thing that's left. It's got Australia, it's got India, it's got the US and Japan.
Is this wasn't anything to do with Keating?
No, it has a lot to do. It's actually Obama's brainchild. When Obama came into power, he was a smarter man, so he had this policy called Pivot to Asia, which his analysis was, we're too bogged down in the Middle East. The Middle East is useless. We're going to be self-sufficient in oil soon. We don't really need their oil anyways. We really need to focus on Asia Pacific, where we're losing our prominence. Mm-hmm. Correctly so. And then that's when he came to Australia and he made the memorable Pivot to Asia speech. But one of the other things that comes from it is the Quad, which is the alliance between these 4 countries that I've mentioned to counter Chinese influence.
Right.
Or at least that's what we've been told.
I see why you were waiting for Jordan not to be here.
No, the reason... Okay, I'm not giving you... On this particular... Even though the last segment had a lot of my opinions, I'm not going to give you my opinions on this.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the opinions... Not opinions, sorry. Facts from a recently declassified document, U.S. government document, right?
Holy shit.
So in early January 2021, the U.S. government declassified a document prepared for the Trump administration. It's called the U.S. Strategic Framework for Indo and Pacific. Now, again, these are quotations. The objective of U.S. presence in Asia Pacific is, quote, maintain U.S. primacy in the region. Understandable. The drafters of the 2018 policy from U.S. National Security Council noted that the threat from China was not from its military. Quoting, rather, the United States is worried about Chinese developments in, quote, cutting-edge technology, including artificial intelligence and biogenetics. The U.S. government's objective, according to the document, was to maintain American industry's innovation edge vis-a-vis China, which does not only mean to enhance U.S. industry, but also to prevent China from getting access to technology and finance. Loss of U.S. preeminence in the Indo-Pacific would weaken our ability to achieve U.S. interests globally. This is what the U.S. is saying, right? But the challenge posed by China is different. China is the only country with economic, diplomatic, military, and technological power to seriously challenge the stable and open international system. Systems, rules, and values. Anyways, What this document is essentially... No, these are the quotes that I highlighted.
Okay.
What this document is essentially saying is that U.S. is not necessarily afraid of China because of its military. The military is big, but the U.S.
is big
even today dwarfs Chinese military. Russian military was always really big, right? But the U.S. didn't think that Russia was nearly as big of a problem as they think that the Chinese are. Because U.S. basically has had the supremacy of cutting-edge technology throughout the world. Or even if it is not U.S., let's say it's Japanese or it's European, it's affiliated with the U.S. Chinese are now making indigenous cutting-edge technologies, right? I remember when I was at university when Chinese first banned Facebook in China, early days. There was this whole problem. There was this hue and cry. I remember I had to write like a paper on it too, which was about how this is against freedom of expression, blah, blah, blah. I remember writing a paper on which my professor penalized for me for. I tried to write in that paper, I tried to argue at that point that this has nothing to do with freedom of speech. This is a protectionist policy to develop their own platforms. They don't want US-based platform, and that's obviously what US would want. US would want
both.
Facebook to be. You could be both, but their argument was that we want to make our indigenous ones, right? Facebook is happy with everyone using their platforms. They start hating it when people start developing their own, and they're right. The 21st century supremacy is going to be based on owning these technologies.
True.
So they have an incentive to stop China. Basically contain them so that they don't take over their technological supremacy. And how do they do it? They do it by forming a coalition, which is the Quad.
Right.
China, US, Japan, and India.
What do they do?
Well, one of the things that has just come up is that China was supplying vaccines to... Well, this is our job, right? Which is a good thing, but like I'll tell you why it can go bad. So China was supplying vaccinations to a lot of these third world countries that couldn't afford it, the South Pacific, and the U.S. and all of us, all of the Quad has come together and said, look, China is gaining a lot of influence in these countries. We need to counter this. So Australia will contribute, but you need to start supplying vaccines to your neighbors so that they don't completely go towards China.
Right.
Which is a good thing. And they're saying that we'll help you pay the bills for it, which is why Australia has ordered 150 million vaccines or some shit, right? We have a population of only 24 million. The intended purpose is for it to go to a lot of these other countries to buy influence. Now, this is a good thing. Who would hate developing countries that desperately need vaccines to get vaccines? But the intention is bad. The intention isn't that we need to make sure that the world is vaccinated because this is a global pandemic.
Strengthen economic.
It is to buy influence so that you can resist China.
Yeah.
Which is, again, causing more frictions. So what I'm essentially saying is, and this is the controversial aspect, and this is my opinion. You may choose to not accept it. You may choose to accept it. We're being played by the U.S. over here. We're not nearly getting the same level of benefits. The drawbacks for us are much higher. The drawbacks for US are minimal. In fact, I suppose if I was an American, I wonder if I would be against it. I probably would because of my anti-war stance, but in terms of an economic point of view, they're not wrong. Why would you want to give up the top floor? You'd want to keep pushing off the ladder, right? But they're involving us. And we are not at the top of the ladder.
It's the same old story.
We are going to suffer from this, is my opinion. And we really, again, my
it's cool, dude. You're allowed to say whatever you want.
But my opinion has always been that we cannot be aligned. We need to have a non-aligned approach.
Leave the Quad.
Not the Quad, but be a force for good in the Quad. Be the force that says, hey, how about instead of fighting for influence with China and Papua New Guinea, we try to solve Papua New Guinea's problem by working with the Chinese. That will build confidence between our two countries. It would solve vaccination issues in Papua New Guinea, and it would generally be a force for good, rather than saying that, hey, you know what, this is how So the Chinese, for instance, have said anyone that wants to come to China needs to get the Chinese vaccine. Right? This is their effort to counter us and the US saying we don't trust Chinese vaccines. We're not gonna use them at all.
No,
so they're saying, okay, if you want to come to China, then you have to take our vaccine. What I'm saying is all of these things should have been decided on their merit rather than who owns the vaccine. Because this is only going to cause more rifts in the future.
Wait, what do you mean on their merit?
What I'm saying is that if we wanted to reject the Sinovac or whatever the Chinese vaccine is, or for that matter, Sputnik vaccine, we needed to have done enough testing to say that this is a bad vaccine.
You mean it shouldn't have been politically motivated?
Should not have been politically motivated. It should not have been based on where it's coming from. It should have been based on how good the vaccine is. And if, let's say, TGA came up to an independent conclusion that Sinovac is a good vaccine, we needed to put that in our mix as well. If they had come up with the conclusion that it's not a good vaccine, we need to say, okay, these are our reservations. This is why we don't think it's a good vaccine. You might use it, but we're just not going to give it to Australians. And that would have been fine, as long as the motivations were right.
There's a lot of stalemates in that is stopping what you would like to happen. One being the Libs here. It's never going to happen with the Libs, so you need Labor in. And also, I think, from my little knowledge or understanding on how Biden's going, seems to me that Biden is just as harsh on China that Trump was.
This is what I've been arguing even before Trump left.
There's no tariffs though. He took the tariffs off, right? This
is the thing that both the elites are actually united on. So actually there's a silver lining over there. So at least there's some things that they agree with.
But hold on. Biden has been he lifted those tariffs that Trump was like, tariffs on China, right?
No, he hasn't. He would lift them based on certain preconditions. Like one of the preconditions... He
hasn't lifted them.
No, he hasn't lifted them. He is willing to talk about it, but he needs to... Basically...
Because it seems to me like, and everyone knows, I'm not some pro-CCP dude.
That is true. Yes.
That's not me at all. But I'm very happy and very glad that China doesn't... Their economy isn't based on the military, on America's model. They're not like an empire like that. They're based on infrastructure, and I think thank God for that. And just in that fact alone, I would like to think it's not like the America-Russia Cold War thing where they're pointing nukes at each other. It's like it seems like China, apart from all its downfalls, which I could list endlessly. I mean, I think everyone knows about the downfalls and the negatives about China. But if you look at the positives, it seems as if it doesn't seem that unreasonable to want to deal with them on a level that could kind of benefit everyone. Doesn't seem that unreasonable.
I think we should... we should look at it from what is the policy that is going to benefit us as an Australian.
But
our leaders should really be just thinking about that.
But that's not big picture,
what is in the interest of Australians?
But that's not a big picture. I mean,
it doesn't matter. That's what they've been elected for. They've not been elected by Kansas. They've been elected by New South Wales, Victoria.
Yeah, but we're just proxies. I mean, but they have been. But we're in a globalized world. There's accesses. There's alliances. There's alliances. That's how it goes. There's China and Africa, and they have an alliance, and there's Japan. The Quad. I would love for the world to operate on a level of not isolationist? What's it called? Populism, where it's let's build our own leather shoes again, and they'll last 2 lifetimes. I'm all for that. I love Australia just to work on Australia's behalf. But when we're buying goods from China and buying and trading, and our fucking McCain's chips came from Poland, unfortunately, that's not how it works.
I understand that an alignment is important, but those alignments and alliances are based on your national interest. That's where alignments come from.
Not really. They're not, though.
Always, as a rule.
But that's not how they work.
They do. Every time. Every alliance is based on national interest, or at least what's the perceived national interest for that country.
Perceived is...
perceived national interest.
But it's not even that. It's not even perceived national interest. It's kowtowing. It's like, America wanted us to buy these defunct fucking submarines, so we'll do it. Just why did we do that?
But I think that's what we really need to be like taking into consideration is that African proverb, when two elephants fight, grass gets trampled. And we unfortunately could be this grass because look at Philippines. Philippines has been basically a colony of the U.S. since the beginning.
Right.
Philippines has been heavily aligned with the U.S.
Okay.
And Philippines has always been America's bulwark against early Chinese expansion. When China was not that big, they used Philippines. Now, obviously, things have gotten bigger. You've got to involve Japan and Australia. But initially, when you had things like Philippines. Now, the Filipino President Duarte, went automatically from being from one of the allied countries to being like a bad player. And it all boils down. He recently gave a very candid interview in which he was saying, and these were his words, Obama was crazy. He wanted me to fight China. I couldn't do it. That was his response to it. He was saying he was mental because, look, the U.S. would obviously want to use you even during World War II, when the fight started, it didn't start with France, it didn't start with the British attacking Germany directly. The war began in Italy. The war was being played out in France. Basically, when you've got two big elephants, the wars really affect the weaker nations first. Until it gets really intense, it's going to be played around proxies. And we will be that proxy. That's why Philippines quickly switched over. The context of the Philippine switchover is also really interesting because there was an international court. There was a court case between Philippines and China about these man-made islands. These islands that China was building. Yeah. Right? And the court case was won by the Philippines. I can't remember the UN body that does the arbitration, but they basically ruled in favor of Philippines, saying that China is illegally making these islands and Philippines has the right over them. And Philippines responded by giving it to China. Not because they were wrong, but because they realized that fighting over it is going to cause them more problems in the long run than giving up over it.
So wait a sec. The Philippines went to the UN to complain that the Chinese...
The U.S. lobbied Philippines to go to the UN.
Yep, and they lost.
And Philippines won, and China lost.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
So China couldn't make them.
They still made them. And Philippines said, okay, you can make them. Because Philippines... Look, the U.S. obviously wants someone to keep rising up to China. But the question is it in Philippines' interest to do it or not? Even though you have to swallow a bitter pill. They were legally right. It was part of their territory. So by all means, they should have actually fought for it. But then their president realized that that's probably not going to be in the interest of my people in the long run. Because you can't choose your neighbors.
But then it always comes down to the argument of like, how much power? You give them too much power.
Well, that's the line that you need to balance, right?
But that's the question, because everyone says that, it's almost like, I know it's almost like so simplistic that it's a childish thing to say, but you never know someone's intentions or their capabilities until they have total control. Yes, say what you will about America.
What you do know is that if you keep suppressing a rising power, they will attack you. That we already know. Like when we talk, look, the thing is, when you look at these kind of wars, right, people always go towards World War II. Like, could you really reason with Hitler? Did you have to fight with Hitler? And you know what? In hindsight, I would say, no, you didn't have an option. You had to fight with Hitler. So people apply that same logic to China, that you need to fight with them. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to accept fascism in your country? But they also don't, they focus on that one war, which was absolutely necessary. But then there's also a war like World War I, which arguably was not necessary to engage.
I don't know much about World War I. I know like the Ferdinand dude got shot.
They compared today's world to be very similar to the world before World War I. What you had in World War I was that Britain used to be a very strong power, And then countries like Germany started to gain some power. And what ended up happening was that countries like the UK and France were like, you know what? We got to stop this. Just like China.
Right.
We need to stop Germany.
Is that what World War I was about?
And then eventually what you had, which is exactly what's happening today, they reached a Mexican standoff where there were enough alliances that everyone just had a revolver over each other's head. And they were like, if you shoot, I shoot. And the other person, if you shoot, I shoot. And you were just standing in that situation until that Ferdinand thing happened. And that was a catalyst where one person blew the trigger, the other person blew the trigger, and everyone started going.
Who killed who in the Ferdinand thing?
It started off with the Balkan states and the Austrian-German Empire being... So it started with the proxies. It didn't start with the main guys.
Yeah.
But the main guys ended up being involved. And First World War was catastrophic. Catastrophic to the point where there's other issues that happen with it, but most historians... And I'm saying this as a general rule. Most historians would say that it was not necessary for Great Britain to get involved in the First World War.
Right.
Once it started, it was something else. And most historians would also argue that there was no other option for Great Britain but to fight with Germany in the Second World War. But here's another thing. The reason why the Second World War took place was because after the First World War, the terms that were set with the Germans were so repressive that they had to come and snap back. You didn't give them enough room. You didn't give them room before, and then you didn't give them room to the point where you had Hitler. And yes, at that point, it was too much. So
you're saying that history is repeating itself right now?
I'm saying that the war with China is not like the Second World War. It is like the First World War.
Gotcha.
And the First World War needed to be dealt differently from the Second World War.
That's a fucking good point, dude. That's a really I feel educated right now. You don't learn this in school. No, honestly, that's a fucking pretty profound point. What do you guys agree that's a profound point?
Again, my opinions, and they do not represent the brand of Friendlyjordies by any means.
Public culture. There's gonna be a lot of
Christians and Jews are trying to resurrect the Roman Empire and bring about the end times. Look up who set the terms and what happened to Germany. Yeah,
I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Weimar Republic. Look, those who don't remember history are doomed to repeat it. I don't think Biden is a stupid man. Is it the case that the powers that be, the military-industrial complex, the banks, whatever, that they just don't care, or that they're stupid, or that they have too much power?
Well, the predicament that Biden is going through, actually, Obama described it really well. Towards the end of his term, his second term, he said that, I'm actually a good president now because I've got so much experience. So he described America. He's like, people think that America is like a speedboat. You become a president, you get behind the wheel, and then if you're going in a direction which is wrong, you quickly turn your direction and you move towards the other way. It's like, that's not what the U.S. is. U.S. is a massive ship. It's the Titanic. If you try to move it now, the effects are going to be felt 5 years later. It's much harder to turn a massive ship.
That's kind of
so Biden has the same predicament. Like when Trump left, it's not a speedboat. He can't come in and he can switch around. I know Biden personally is a dove. He is very risk averse.
Yeah.
I know if you ask Biden personally, he would rather not have a war with China. We already know for a fact that Biden has spent enough time with the Chinese to know that they're not irrational players. They're not mental. Like, people think that anyone that's not you is just suicidal. He recognizes them as rational players. But Biden also recognizes that there are certain economic interests that the U.S. has. For example, let's boil it down to like a very basic one that Australia had to deal with. Huawei establishing the 5G network in places like Australia and in the UK. Huawei, the Chinese company, has the best technology for 5G, has the cheapest technology for 5G. It makes the most economic sense for them to, for us to give them the contract. US, on the other hand, is not there yet, but their economic interest is to make sure that Chinese don't take over these markets because it's their market. So they force us. How do they force us? They say, if you accept Huawei, we will not share any intelligence with you under the garb that the information that we will provide you will be compromised because the Chinese have your infrastructure plan, which might be true, which might not be true. But here's a definite interest. If you use Huawei, you're not using T-Mobile. And that's what we care about. We want to be the hegemon of technological superiority in the world. And give us time. Give us 5 years, 10 years, T-Mobile will get there. And then we will supply it to you. And because we're not there yet, you will not have access to that advanced technology until we are able to provide you. And you know what? Australia has a difficult choice now. On the other hand, it makes absolute economic sense for us to switch to Huawei and get our 5G network going. It will increase our economic profitability. But at the same time, we might have to piss off our alliance that is giving us this naval protection.
Basically, daddy.
So we are in a difficult situation. What I'm arguing is that you need smart people to be able to navigate through this difficult situation. The Liberal Party, this is a bit partisan now, but I want to say this. The Liberal Party's literal policy is, well, we just have to do whatever the US says.
I think that's understood that's really I think that everyone knows that. And I understand it on a nostalgic level where it's I understand it on a level of I don't know, we fought in wars together, we have the history together, bully beef, surfing. We both like surfing and we're Western, we have a lot in common. We're Westerners and everything. I get it. But it's definitely very naive. I think that China could be it scares me thinking the whole of too much power, but your World War I metaphor is a pretty fucking good one. And what's the alternative? We either take a risk and see if they're fine, or we take a risk and go to war. I know which one's a better option. So you it makes sense. And it's ironic that they're bankrolling us now by, not now, but China buying our resources is the reason why we're so rich. And it's kind of you can't have your cake and eat it. It's kind of been we're being hard on China. Hey, China, can you still keep buying our resources? Well, which one is it? You can't do both. And it's hard. It's very difficult. I mean, I think Kevin Rudd was the closest prime minister we had that could do this. But is it possible?
Paul Keating has really good ideas on this too. And to your point,
because Kevin balanced,
both of them balanced. Look, no one. I would never say this, neither would I wanted to say we need to side with China. I'm not comfortable with it.
No, I mean,
As someone with my views, I am not comfortable with completely siding with China.
Yeah.
But I'm also not comfortable with completely siding with the US.
Totally.
And, if you ask me, personally, what would be better if we completely sided with China or we completely sided with the US, I might even say US. But that's based on...
Because there's political ramifications either way.
And plus our culture is similar to theirs.
Yeah.
There's so many other reasons why we should be. But it's still suicidal to just completely...
Totally.
Keating always says
Yeah, what does Keating say?
Keating says...
Has he written a book about this yet?
Yeah, he's written a fair bit.
About China?
About China. And he talks about China heaps. And he's a very rational voice on this topic. He says...
I'd like to know what he says.
He's got this thing of every time we say, but then the US would be pissed off. And he's like, you need to develop some balls. And we've been fighting wars with the US for over 100 years now. You do not need to bring out your marriage certificate every week. They know whose side you're on. Just relax, grow some balls, and take some decisions.
Yeah. I mean, Keating was always a very bull ram, let's become a republic, let's change the flag, let's what? He's very like that. Just to be come on, let's fucking push ahead. I'm a little bit look, just let's reel it back 10%, buddy. Let's just, you know what I mean? Just with the headstrongness. Obviously an insanely intelligent man and great policy, but he's kind of like Jordan, where it's just we're doing this now. It's dude, that's not a good idea. Too late, see ya! That's what Jordan's like. And that's how you get things done. But I wonder if you don't have to pull it out every week. I think maybe you're right. I'd like to think you could pull it out every few months, the marriage certificate.
Yeah.
Every few months. we get Huawei or whatever, and then
okay, how about this? This is something that, like, 2 examples. Right, one is we side with the U.S. in terms of Huawei. Right, we don't do it because it's too much of a risk. However, do we really need to be a signatory over the COVID origin movement? Where like we were one of the forerunners of one of the top countries that were
putting an inquiry
into it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that inquiry was necessary or what. I'm just saying, do we really need to be?
Yeah, I know. Was anything found from that?
Well, the WHO went and they came up with this. With their findings are that it probably started in a wet market, which is being criticized. Again, it is not a concern for me where it started because it doesn't matter.
It's happened.
We have to deal with it. But Australia fucking completely siding and saying that no, we need this inquiry. That meant that our wines are not being able to get exported. Our coal is not being able to get exported. I'm just saying we need to pick our battles.
Dude, it's a rational decision. I mean, everyone says, the conservatives are like the rational, get in the black, be conservative. A conservative choice is picking conservative choices. What does conservative mean? It means to conserve, but I mean, like, it's not that far from rationality.
Try and conserve the economy. You keep making it worse.
No, that's true though. Try to conserve the economy. So let's not do a bogus investigation that is going to hit us with needless tariffs. That's a sensible and like a conservative perspective. So you're right. Like, it's kind of irrational to do that. So like, and again, like I understand there's a lot of, I agree. We shouldn't just side with China. There's a long list of fucked up things that are on their resume, but like anything can happen here. It's like I think people forget. Well, maybe COVID was a bit of a reminder. It's like, life can change pretty instantaneously, pretty quickly, pretty dramatically. So I agree with you. I think that you should pick your battles. Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe if we have the chance to not jump on board with like completely superfluous grandstanding and acts of like flexing needlessly. And maybe let's not do that. Maybe let's look a little bit more tactical.
Okay, this was
right.
Personally, 100%. But like this was personally something that I found a little embarrassing, which went. It didn't get noticed, but one of the embarrassing things was that at U.S. pressure, we did that COVID inquiry.
That was U.S. pressure? Oh, from Trump?
Yeah,
from Trump?
Of course.
Right.
It was. We independently, even the Liberal Party is not dumb enough to just come up with that idea by themselves. So give credit where it's due. They did it because of pressure. Now, what happens as a result of that was that the U.S. put sanctions on us. The China put sanctions on us on certain things. We were left high and dry. We had to say, we need the rest of the world needs to come to our back. No one did, right? People were just too afraid. They were like, look, we don't want sanctions too. Trump didn't even, after getting us to do it. Biden administration comes in. One of the first things that Biden does is tell China, what's happening with these sanctions with Australia? China, they're our mate. You can't do this. To which our government goes, yes, our big brother has finally stood up. This was what happened. I looked at it as like, what kind of a pathetic administration are you running that you're dependent on external factors to fucking stick up for yourself? Why aren't you in a situation where you're able to dictate terms yourself?
I have something to tell you. Australia's always been like that.
If you look at this situation, we were put into it by the US, and then if the US comes and sticks up for us, that's the least they can do. You don't need to be fucking thankful about that. You put us in that situation, so the least you can do is stick up for this. But here's what I say. Australia should have been like, okay, we're not going to get 5G, we're not going to get Huawei because maybe that will compromise our telecommunications. We get your point, but we're not going to be part of this COVID inquiry. No tariffs would have been put on Australia, and no one would have needed to stick up for us.
That's what should have happened. But I think there's an explanation for that. I think psychologically, and I'm not speaking for Australians in general, but I think there's a proportion of Australians that psychologically, I mean, I feel like this even subconsciously, that we are just still this like baby state of the British Empire. It's like there's mummy over there and daddy over there. That's what it feels like. It feels like obviously we're our own country. I mean, fuck, we have our own long history, and I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying that, like, I think that there is a contingency on a political level for a lot of Australians to have this thing of like, we're sister colony, like the UK is mum. I mean, definitely for the libs, and Australia and America's dad, and like because of that psychology. For someone like you might be like, why have we got any balls? But for someone like me, I'm like, that's all I know.
And I understand that. Look, I don't want to be. I understand,
and I'm not saying that's good.
No, I mean, like, I know what you're saying, but like, I'm just saying that's a very.
It's stuck in the past, right?
Yeah, because we're moving towards a really fractured world.
Yeah.
Mommy and daddy are having fights. Mommy and daddy are having fights with other people who are uncles.
I know,
and so like being on side of one guy is a difficult thing because your uncle might kill your daddy.
Exactly. And
so you need to have a good relationship with your uncle,
exactly.
daddy, and mummy.
And also, this is the thing: mum and dad live in let's say, what's a good metaphor? This isn't the right metaphor, just purely geographically. No. Here's a good one. Mum and dad live in Brisbane.
Yeah.
But we live in Tasmania.
Yeah.
So
basically, the stepdad lives way closer to us than daddy and mum.
Stepdad lives way closer than where mum and dad live. So even on a geographical level,
stepdad also gives us our allowance.
Yeah. Stepdad gives us our allowance. So it's like mum and dad give us an allowance too, but stepdad is like
slowly up in the ante.
Yeah, and not only up in the ante, he can help us a lot or he can fuck us a lot. He can fuck us over a lot. And mum and dad are so far, and it's like, but you're my dad. Like you're my family. I love you. And it's like, yeah, I know. We'll talk. And then you're like, the uncle or the friend maybe is it's not necessarily family, but they're kind of the one I see every day. They're the one that I deal with. I live in that area. I don't live in Newcastle. I live in Tasmania. We're in fucking Asia. So I understand that people want to be nostalgic to some degree, but maybe we can still hold on to some level of nostalgia and stuff of like the wartime, like the comrades or whatever. We can still hold on to that and not be just not live and die by like the fact that we both surf.
I would very much agree with that.
But that seems almost like it's so stupid. But that issue seems almost as almost as difficult as like the climate change issue. It's such a big cultural issue because sometimes it's so hard, man. Like it's so hard. I know Jordan's not here, and you'll just think that I'm like he's speaking to me on a little earpiece. But I think we just need to have Kevin for life. Because, like, I don't think he's, like, the most charming man in the world, the smartest man in the world, but he's definitely smart, and he's definitely charming, and he was definitely forward-thinking, and, he was less radical than Paul Keating. Like, he was a reasonable, fuck me, if you want to find a centrist that is reasonable, that can talk to mum, talk to dad, talk to the neighbors, and I think he might have been the only one that could keep them all happy.
One more person that dad needs to talk to is the Australian public. Look, right now, our strategy is based on there's leaders that follow their constituency, and then there's leaders that tell their constituency what's up.
Yes.
So you need someone like Kevin Rudd to come up and explain. Right now, Sky News puts pressure on the Liberal government. China, look at them. They're taking too much. What are you doing? Like, we need more submarines. And the Liberal Party's going, on it.
Yeah.
Some leader needs to come up and tell the Australian public, look, these are the facts. That would be nice. That we're dealing with.
That would be nice.
Now,
ScoMo's not that.
I would recommend...
ScoMo's more the Trumpian.
You need, like, great leaders for that. But someone needs to explain to them that you might need to reform some of your views on this because we need it.
That's what has to happen, because I have watched for Jordan, for my job, for my day job. I've watched basically every piece of Kevin Rudd talking about the Murdoch empire piece of media there is. So his News Corp thing, his Senate hearing, there's been a whole bunch of 2-hour conversations. And one of his main points was that he has a think tank in America. He's not a dumb man. The Americans just poached him straight away when he got out, because like, this guy's a fucking genius, you know. He's a smart man. He understands like bilateral fucking international everything.
Chinese did too, which is a testament to his intellect.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Oh, of course, yeah. Definitely. But what I was going to say was, what was I going to say? So like, he spends a lot of time in America. His whole point is Sky News is the Australian wing of Fox. Murdoch is trying to create a similar polarized environment in Australia that is happening in America, or it has happened in America. He said it is happening slowly, consciously, on a grounds roots level. This is what is happening, and this is the trajectory we're going in if Murdoch has 70% control of the media. Number one YouTube page on YouTube, Sky News, all this shit. Mass control.
He's a supervillain.
Yeah. So Trump, fucking Kev was saying like, is this the road we want to go down? Because it's happening now. It's just more polarization. I mean, fuck, I found myself swept up in it. It's so easy, especially if you're an emotional person. It's so easy to get swept up on rhetoric as opposed to facts. And, you know, Kev was just being like, alternative facts is a term now. It's like, this shit is getting out of hand, and America is the canary in the coal mine. And he's right. And it'd be nice to just cut that head off and be like, let's just not do that. You know, it's a good society. We have Medicare. We have a good working wage. We have good social systems. We have good hospitals. We have good schools, had good schools, it's already slowly happening, you know? And so like someone like that, like a centrist or not even Keating, just someone like that that's like reasonable. He doesn't hate Americans. He doesn't hate anyone. He's just a pragmatic person that just trying to tie the ends together and be like, let's just be reasonable here and have good policy. And like, we're not going to, you know, I have a think tank in America and I love America. I understand like America is like they still are the leaders of the free world, despite all their horrible lapses in like, you know, human rights. You know, that's what Jordan wouldn't say that because he's like so intense on his opinions. He's so like, you know, like tunnel vision with that shit. But like, you know, America still is the leader of the free world, and he sees that. So like, we need another Kev. We need just Kevin in again. Because do you agree?
I think so. I think we need someone like Kevin Rudd.
Yeah.
But I
like
also
you said,
know that there was a reason why he was kicked out.
Yeah, of course.
And it was more than just, he's slightly less popular now.
No, of course it was. And like, that's why this shit is so, it's so
there are forces that do not want someone to balance.
No, of course that. And
but anyways, we've been out of time. We have actually gone over the normal time of it.
Who needs you, man?
Thank you guys for joining us today. We appreciated all of you that ended up sticking around.
Thanks so much for hanging around. I hope you enjoyed it. Kevin forever.
And again, if anyone works with refugees or asylum seekers or know someone that works with refugees, please hit me up on Instagram or podcast at Friendlyjordies.
10 out of 10, great pod. Miss Love for PM. Finally, someone says it. Bunnings, snags, reform for all.
Yeah, cool. So like if anyone, please hit me up. I need to forward some context.
If there's anyone out there that's involved, what do you want to get them on? How can they get to us?
Yeah, email at podcast@friendlyjordies.com or hit me up on Instagram. Anyway, honestly, like I think there's a few people that really need your help. So like any way you can grab a hold of me, I would
And thanks for all the positive words.
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone's very happy.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching this, and we'll see you guys next week.
And we'll see you on the Up Late. Join Patreon.
Unfortunately, next week, Jimmy is going to be on.
He's back. But yeah, if you want more of this, just all you got to do is join up on Patreon because we're doing another one right now, and we'll probably just delve deeper. So if you want more, a small donation, and it's going to... Yeah, an hour or more.
All the money that you give on Patreon is going to be donated to the selfless trust of ourselves.
Well,
basically means just give it to us.
But that's how we do it. That's how we can do it. It's tough out there, mate.
It's a selfless trust of benefiting ourselves. All right, see you guys next week. Thank you.
Yeah.